It's the SFL Nights it's the SFL Nights with AJ Striker, with AJ Striker. It's the SFL Nights it's the SFL Nights with AJ Striker, with AJ Striker. Ashley Jackson about the action. SFL news, come and join with interaction. Whatever happens, happens. Yeah, you will leave with satisfaction. Yeah, tell your team and tell your captain. Come and tune in, new episodes weekly.
What's up, SFL Nation? And welcome back to SFL Nights with AJ Striker. Thank you so much for joining me today or tonight or whenever you decided to hit that play button or turn on that radio dial. I really appreciate it, y'all. And look at my cast of characters right here. It's absolutely wonderful. And I will be adding to this cast in a little, probably about 30 minutes or so. But for now, I have Mr. Will Tide from the Arizona Scorpions here with me. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great, Ashley. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. You're very welcome. And followed by Mr. Mike All from the Jacksonville Kings.
Yeah, I'm sad Eddie's not here, so I'm just going to do the Jacksonville. What up, y'all? What up, doe?
There you go. What up, doe, man? Okay. I'm glad you cleaned it up in there.
Yeah.
And followed by Mr. Bo Martin Jr. from the Lone Star Glory. How are you?
I'm well. It is a glorious Tuesday evening. I'm happy to be here, Ashley.
I'm glad you're here with me. And I have 3 members from the London Knights with me. Very, very, very popular members as well. I have Mr. Chad Roland. How are you doing, sir?
You know, I'm doing pretty good. Joined up here by you guys, and I'm ready to kick your guys' ass Saturday. So
that's debatable. Trust me.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'm good though.
Good. Next up, I have Mr. Johnny Pickner, quarterback. How are you doing?
Couldn't be doing better, Ashley. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. It's been a while. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Lord have mercy, Mr. MSG Mike St.Green is in the house, wide receiver.
Here I go, Ashley. It's a pleasure for you to have me here. And hey, what else can I say? 100 catches, 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. MSG is in the building. Hide all the white girls.
Stop it.
I think MSG been hanging around Johnny Pickler too much.
A little bit.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Johnny, you starting to rub off on him, man.
A little bit. Thank all of you for being here. I really appreciate it. And this is going to be an awesome show already. I can tell. All right, guys. So we're going to start things off with a week 12 review, as we always do. And then we're going to slide over to SFL chat around the water cooler, where we will be talking about the playoff standings. And we will be talking about the Wildcard matchups that will be happening on Sunday. And we have 2 teams that are within this podcast that will be battling each other. So it's going to be interesting how the conversation flows. But we're going to start things off with, get my notes together right here. The Florida Storm taking on the Carolina Skyhawks, and the Storm won 32-14. The Storm had 227 yards passing, 150 yards rushing for 377 yards total. Their time of possession was 23 minutes and 25 seconds with no mistakes. Carolina had 360 yards passing, only 81 yards rushing though for 441 yards total. They had held the ball for 20 minutes, 33 seconds, and 7 mistakes. Charlie Boletsky was the player of the game. And he had 24 attempts for 159 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 33 reception yards. So, gentlemen, what did y'all think about this Florida game? I know I called it.
Yeah, that's a little rough, right? Especially if you're looking at it on the Carolina end. I mean, a team that had playoff aspirations, Carolina, with the changes that they made, bringing in, the quarterback they have and the players they have, and to kind of falter like that at the end just really sucks for them. They kind of always have a bad turn of the table, right? But I mean, for Florida, I mean, they're just the same team, right? I mean, they've just been chugging right along to the number 2 seed in the playoffs, and Boletsky obviously is a big force of that, and that defensive line especially is really, really solid as well.
I agree. Mike? All?
Well, so I played both these teams during the regular season. Obviously, we're all in the same division. Florida, unfortunately, we played them twice and lost to them twice. They are a tough team to beat, and the caliber and skill of this team is going to carry them far into the playoffs. But it didn't go unexpected. Carolina has a great team. They put a great team together, but it's not strong enough to beat Florida's current roster, and that showed in this game.
Got it. Will, did you want to add something to that?
Well, I was just going to agree with Chad. Whenever you have a rough game and you make 7 turnovers in a game, it's just hard to do any good when you commit 7 turnovers.
You're absolutely right about that.
I really don't like Florida. They kind of showed teams to try to 2-bump me the whole rest of the season since that game. I don't really like Florida.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I guess you're not going for them to win the whole thing, huh? All right.
I'm in the playoffs, so I can't root for anybody else to win the whole thing.
Try to slide that in on you. Gotcha. The Vancouver Legion will be took on the Portland Fleet, and they won 30-17. Vancouver had 433 yards passing for 44 yards rushing, 477 yards total. Their time of possession was 21 minutes and 41 seconds with 3 turnovers. Portland had 120 yards passing, 104 yards rushing for 224 yards total. Their time of possession was 21 minutes and 35 seconds with no mistakes. Tom Pepper was the player of the game with 38 completions out of 51 attempts, 433 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a quarterback rating of 94.6. So looks like the difference was, and it's crazy because Vancouver won with the 3 turnovers. They rushed for a significantly smaller portion, but it looks like they won with their passing game.
Yeah, that's how Vancouver is, right? I mean, they're really a balanced team, but when it comes to throwing the ball, I think they're not. I don't think they're in the London range of throwing the ball. I'll say that. I don't care, but with who they have as weapon wise, I mean, they're just talented all around, right? And for Portland on that side, just tragic, right? I mean, they have like a really good win streak. They did beat us, and they had a really good win streak going in. Then they kind of fell the last few games of the season. When you have to win those big games like that, and I mean, obviously they were 6-6, but the strength of victory was just not that good enough for them to leapfrog over Louisiana or Las Vegas or even us. Mm-hmm. So. But they had a good season. Kudos to them. I mean, they're still on the up and up, but you got to close out those bigger games at the end, man.
I mean, Vancouver's a buzzsaw, right? I mean, I think the secret's out when their receivers get going, and when Tom Pepper gets to hitting all the receivers. There's not many teams who can hang with him. I mean, I'm looking at the stats. You had Brett Killian with 9 receptions, 138 yards. You had Kendra Hall with 9 receptions, 103 yards. Yeah. Then you had Chris Curtis with 6 receptions for basically, he had 99 yards, so basically 100 yards. So you're talking about 3 receivers right there with 100 yards each. They're spreading this ball around, Ashley, and when they get to spreading the ball like that, there's not much you're going to do. And then you look at Robert Redford and you say, well, he only had 46 yards rushing. Well, add to that another 50 yards receiving, and he's right at 100 yards himself. So that's 400 yards of offense, spreading the ball around to 4 different receivers. There's not much you're going to do. When Vancouver gets to clicking like that, there's very few teams that are going to stop them.
Great points.
Yeah, one thing I will add about this game, you said, how did they win? Yeah, they typically win with the passing game, as everybody mentioned, but they really won this game by shutting down Ezekiel Love. He did have 95 yards in the game, but he wasn't effective at all, as we would typically see with Ezekiel Love. And they basically forced O.J. Bruin to beat him and he basically wasn't, didn't come up big and in the big moments to put any offense together. It's just that the offense struggled really the past 2 weeks. A lot of teams figured out control Ezekiel Love, and you can pretty much control that Portland offense.
Absolutely.
Sounds like season 15 of the Scorpions, huh? The Jacksonville Kings. Mike. Jacksonville Kings took on the Charleston Predators, and the Predators won 45-10. Jacksonville had 345 yards passing for 48 yards rushing, 393 yards total. Their time of possession was 22 minutes and 7 seconds with 3 mistakes. Charleston had 298 yards passing, 191 yards rushing for 480 yards total. Their time of possession was 21 minutes, 53 seconds with only 1 mistake. Keith Swearingen was the player of the game with 22 attempts, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns, 55 reception yards, and 1 reception touchdown. So, Mike, please tell us what happened with this game, Mr. All.
Well, aside from the fact that Charleston put together a superb game plan, as a team, we decided to go all out for what could possibly be our last game of the season, and we went crazy aggressive, and Charleston had every counter for that. So, I mean, kudos to them for coming out with the exact right game plan to just smash us the way that they did. I don't feel bad as much for the loss, knowing that Marcus still had a good game. Suckle Nymano still had a good game. Unfortunately, on paper, it looks like we didn't really. I mean, watching the game, it looks like we didn't really do much either. But we went out there. We tried something different. It didn't work out. Guess what? We're not going to try again. We're not going to try any crazy aggressive schemes again. We're going to go back next season to playing Kings football the way we do, and going to come out stronger and faster next season.
Okay, gotcha. The Dragons took on the Queen City Corsairs, and the DC Dragons won 31-13. DC had 309 yards passing, 51 yards rushing for 360 yards total. Their time of possession was 19 minutes and 51 seconds with 3 mistakes. Queen City had 275 yards passing, 80 yards rushing with 355 yards total. Their time of possession was 24 minutes and 9 seconds with 3 mistakes. Player of the game was Shabazz Synergy with 26 completions out of 37 attempts, 309 yards, 3 touchdowns, 88.7 quarterback rating. Now, it's funny because when I'm looking at the mascot on here, I had to check myself because I was going to say Ottawa because it looks like that's that same mascot. I'm like, where's the Queen City logo at? Anybody?
Yeah, I mean, DC. I got to tell you, being in the division with them as well, and as well as Queen City, DC is still moving up, right? I mean, they've got some good pieces in place. They're trying to get things done. They're always that team that just sticks around, right? I mean, they played us really well. I mean, our offense is a little off that game, but they did a fantastic job against some teams this season. And, they're going to be looking to that North Division's scary good, right? And Queen City, I mean, they've lost the last 2. Granted, they played against Baltimore and DC. That's not really what you don't want to have a losing streak going into the playoffs, right? Because every team that has made the playoffs so far is a damn good team. And so any matchup is scary. And so you want to have that momentum going into that. So will those 2 losses in a row, especially losing to DC, hurt them a little bit going into this next game? We'll have to find out.
And Ashley, if you didn't know, that was the New York Knights throwback uniforms that they wore in that game. So that's why you're seeing that particular logo.
Thank you. Because I was like, who is this?
Yeah, that was the old New York Knights. Yep.
Nice.
And DC is definitely a stronger team than what their record shows. I mean, they played everybody hard this season. I mean, in our game against them, I had to get a sack and a half on their last 2 plays just to make sure that their kicker could not hit a field goal to beat us at the last second. So they are a very strong team. They are not somebody to just sleep on.
Absolutely, or take for granted. You had a lot of young players when they started, but now everybody's starting to make their progressions and get better. So they're going to be a force to deal with next season, definitely. The Tulsa Desperados took on the Louisiana Revolution, and the Revolution won 48-13. Tulsa had 286 yards passing, 33 yards rushing for 319 yards total. Their time of possession was 20 minutes, 13 seconds with 4 turnovers. Louisiana had 312 yards passing, 100 yards rushing for 412 yards total. Their time of possession was 23 minutes, 31 seconds with 1 mistake. Player of the game was Tommy Utah. 23 completions out of 31 attempts, 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a quarterback rating of 124.7. So, Johnny, what'd you think about this game?
First off, the one name that came to mind who I was watching in this game was Reggie Streeter, my old teammate, announcing his retirement. This was his final game. He had eclipsed the previous week that 10,000 career rushing yards mark, which is pretty insane. I think he's 9th overall on the all-time list. I don't know if he's a shoo-in for Hall of Fame, but there's definitely an argument there. I really was hoping to see him become, I think it's like the 4th or 5th running back to actually have 100 rushing touchdowns as well. He would have needed, 3 in this game. I think he only had 1. I think he ended up his career with 98 rushing touchdowns, which is still pretty damn impressive and puts him, 5th overall. So that's who I was watching in this game. But Tommy Utah, the kid, he was the man in this game. Louisiana played great on both sides of the ball. They are known for their ball hawks on defense. I think Mike Ryan had an interception. Evan Arthur, he's a playmaker out there. They did what they had to do. They're against Tulsa, and Tulsa's the worst team in the league right now. Tulsa has to be thinking about what do we have to do to find an identity for next season. You're going to have the 1st overall pick in the draft. You were the worst team this year. You finished at 2-10. You have a quarterback in JQ who threw 30 interceptions this year. Yeah, I've thrown 30. Pepper's thrown 32, but we've both thrown 35 or more touchdown passes. This guy threw 12 touchdown passes to 30 interceptions. And on top of that, you're like, all right, if they can't pass the ball, then maybe they can run the ball. I was trying to scroll down to find out, where they rank in the rushing attack. I don't think they're top 10 and might not even be top 15 in the rushing attack either. They're towards the bottom when it comes to running the ball too. So they need to figure out what's going on this season. That's kind of what I was looking at. How are these teams going to go out? Revolution went out on a high note. Kudos to them. I think I projected them for like another 4-8 season. They outdid how I thought they were going to perform this year, and they finished at 6-6. Not good enough for the playoffs. I was impressed by their 5-6. I think they had 5 wins out of 6 games in the middle of the season. But their final 3 games, they fell short to the Lycans in a game that Tommy threw 4 interceptions and they lost 14-7. Last week, I know they're going to blame it on that bad call by R62 when they thought that they had a guy in bounds. But you gotta make sure that your team's in a position that one call doesn't swing it for you. And they needed to come out on a win here with a win here, and it just they needed help around the league as well, and they didn't get that help. I think they were relying on Baltimore to beat us, and that didn't happen. And so they're left out of the dance for a 2nd year in a row, and hoping they can have a better season next year.
Gotcha.
Can you be an analyst more often? Shit.
Right.
You say you can't analyze.
I can, man. I can't.
Shit, man. No, and kudos to Louisiana this season, kind of like echoing what he said. They went from having kind of a down season last year, obviously, not utilizing yourself, Johnny, in the correct way, but that's a different story. And then coming in and getting the rookie Tommy Utah, coming in with a 6-6 record. They had a nice little streak going there for a while, really looking like they were poised to make a decent playoff push. And I don't remember who they played in week 11.
It was St. Louis.
Was it St. Louis? Okay. I'm trying to remember how that went, but anyway, regardless of what happened, they finished 6-6, but some of the victories just weren't strong enough, I guess, compared to ours, which we had, 2 wins against teams that were in the playoffs and stuff. So, but like I said, kudos to them. And then on like you echoed on the other side, man, Tulsa, what are they going to do? Right. JQ, what are you doing with that build? You got Gabe Manning. Are you wasting the talent of Gabe Manning over there? I don't know.
I don't know if Gabe Manning sticks around.
He might not.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because I'm looking at Tulsa and where they stand. I mean, you got to figure, Gabe has given them several years to get things together, several seasons to get things together. I mean, he's got all the skills. And I'm looking at Tulsa's lineup. They don't have a bad lineup. They've got some pretty solid players. They've got Gabriel Manning, of course, one of the top wide receivers in the game. Asanzo Robinson has such potential at running back. And you just wonder how well he's being utilized over there. And then you've got Jason France at tight end. Their offense is actually, they've got a pretty good offense. And then even on the defensive side of the ball, they've got some really solid players. Justin Recited, free safety, has come a long way so far. And then Berto Demura and Jaden Swift. And that's just to name a couple, right? So they've got talent. Why is it that they cannot seem to produce? And when you've got players like Gabe Manning, who know that they're in their prime, how much more time is he going to give to them before he starts to go look for another team?
And I'm going to do my best mighty impression, right? It comes down to coaching, right? I don't know if that's how he sounds, but I think that's truly what it is. I think the coaching aspect of this is what is killing him, right? Because you have Gabe Manning, you've got Corey Jones in there. Jason France is a good tight end. Sanzo Robinson can be kind of like that Robert Merrill type of back, that could be utilized in the passing game better, I think. And JQ's got all the right attributes and everything. So it's really confusing to me how they're playing out, but hopefully, they can turn things around. Maybe it's time to blow it up and do a rebuild,
it's not just, that's what's scary. It's not just they have good players on defense too, but it's not just their offense that's struggling. Their defense, allowing Louisiana to put up 50 points on you in week 12 to go out that way. It's not, you have a defensive issue too. I'm just curious, Bo, I can see Manning, I can see him in a Jacksonville uniform next year, letting Dunhill throw him the ball. Bo, if you had right now, where do they go with their number 1 overall pick? I'm just curious what you think.
Honestly, it's going to depend on Gabe Manning and what he does, I think, because if he leaves, they're going to have to try to replace him. That's a very good question. Here's the thing. What was their record? I think they were 1-11, 2-10, 2-12, 2-10 rather. Okay. I don't see many glaring holes, right? They don't have a horrible team. That's why I don't understand why they're 2-10. But it's going to depend a lot.
They should draft a coach with that first overall pick.
You said it, not me.
Johnny.
Hey, I'm glad Johnny's here. He gets to take those. He can take those shots, and I end up just doing like this. So, but no, they're not horrible in a lot of spots. So there's no glaring need. You know what I mean? Like they've even got a kicker on the roster. So they're set at kicker with JT Delaney, and he's one of the better kickers.
No, he declared free agency.
Oh, oops. Sorry, Tulsa.
If we're talking about the draft and stuff, this is way too early predictions, obviously.
It is.
But
maybe kicker then. There you go, Johnny.
Maybe kicker, because there's not a whole lot of them. I could see maybe like a Dante Grimm, obviously, going in.
And if I'm like the fan base for a team that just went 2-10, and you spend your first overall pick on a fucking kicker, dude, I'm flipping my board, dude.
Here's the thing, though.
You got teams in the playoffs that have a generic kicker right now, bro. This
is true.
I can't justify taking a kicker with the first overall pick.
No, I took a kicker of 4 and I regretted it. Right. So, but like I said, I think, getting somebody on that in that defensive backfield to help, like a Dante Grimm, I think that'd be a good selection at first overall, because really when you're looking at the wide receivers and stuff, there's not really anybody I don't think that stands out. Right. And
I'll tell you what they need.
Have 3-year builds in. And so now the question becomes, do you look at Sanzo Robinson and say, well, I don't think this guy's going to make it. And so maybe Douglas Brown sits there at 1.
What they should focus on, Johnny, is someone who can do more than just their player. That's where their focus should be. I wouldn't even so much be looking at the player that they're drafting. I would be looking at the person behind the player, because Tulsa needs help, and they're going to need somebody who's going to scout for them. They maybe need to see if they can find somebody who's got coaching experience. So even more so than a position, I'd be looking at somebody who can help out behind the scenes.
Great points, gentlemen. I'm sure they're going to have a lot to think about this offseason. The LA Lycans took on the San Diego Mavericks, and San Diego won 16-7. LA had 140 yards passing, 104 yards rushing for 244 yards total. Their time of possession was 20 minutes, 46 seconds with 5 mistakes. San Diego had 237 yards passing, 59 yards rushing, 296 yards total. Their time of possession was 22 minutes, 34 seconds with 1 turnover. Jalen Wells was your player of the game with 15 attempts, 69 yards, 29 reception yards, and 1 reception touchdown. So it looks like LA lost this game because they had so many turnovers, I would say.
Yeah, and let's just give kudos to San Diego right now.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you go from having that season last year to having I think it was 4 wins, correct, if I remember right. Just kudos to Optimus. Kudos to Liam Hammer, too, for coming in there and just turning that around and doing a great job. I mean, they got some holes they're going to have to fill this next season, obviously, with quarterback and wider and other things like that. But this team, like I said, I mean, going from 0 wins to 4, that's a huge jump. And, you know, I just wanted to be public out. I just wanted to be out publicly, just giving just a kudos and a shout out to all those guys in the front office. Because there's a lot of stuff that was said about them and about front office stuff. But at the end of the day, they've really took their lumps, turned it around, and really have done a great job this season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this goes exactly in the face of what we were saying about Tulsa, because look what San Diego was able to do in a matter of a season. They're showing forward progress. And I think back to London and where they started off. They started off, 2-10, but each season they continue to make progress, right? And so you look at Tulsa and you think, well, what's going on there? Because they're not progressing. So again, like Chad was saying, kudos to San Diego. I mean, I gave them a really hard time last year and even at the beginning of this year. And I definitely congratulate them. In my opinion, this is a good season for them. And next season, hopefully they can get to 500. This is a tough league to play in, but they've got all the pieces. And if they can maintain some of their pieces, they showed a lot of potential, especially towards the later games in the season. So shout out to them. And I don't know what LA did. I'll just leave it at that. They laid an egg.
Yeah, I mean, they laid an egg, but maybe they were focusing on, because they already had a playoff spot in hand, maybe trying to focus on next week.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this game a credit to San Diego, or is it more something for LA to be worried about? I mean, they've lost four games in the back half of their season, and kind of sputtered out, on the way to the playoffs, even though it was already locked up. So, I mean, if I was a playoff team, I would love to draw LA right now, the way they've been playing the past few weeks. And so, I mean, as much as it's great to see San Diego go on a high note, I mean, that LA, front office, they have to be, kind of all up in arms, to figure out this big game this week.
And one quick point about San Diego's 4 wins. Those 4 wins came in their last 8 games. So they really turned it around towards, the end of the season and start playing, really, really good football. And the point about LA, no, they did not come in saying, "Oh, we've already clinched and we're in the playoffs," because that game, if they win that game, they win the Pacific Division Championship. So that was not the case. They've been playing very, I almost said poorly, but they've been very average offensively over the past few weeks or so. Sully Richardson has 10 interceptions in the last 2 games, and if you do that, we all know in this league, if you turn the ball over at that rate, it's going to be hard to win on a consistent basis. And what more shocking to me from LA is that we haven't seen much of Robert Johnson lately. When they turn it around mid-season, when they had their coaching changes and that coaching issues, we saw a ton of Robert Johnson, but here lately we just haven't seen him getting going, and they putting the ball in Sully Richardson's hands, and they're not coming through.
Gotcha.
Yeah, actually, one final point on San Diego, too, as far as their building blocks for the future. I saw in the player openings channel that San Diego is looking for a quarterback for next season. So, depending on whether they go out of the draft or they get a quality free agent, that's going to be a pretty significant part of their building puzzle for the future. So.
Great point.
Yeah, Vasquez went over to Denver. He will not be taking over the quarterback duties, but he took a front office role over at Denver.
Yeah.
Oh, so Vasquez is retiring as a player?
Yes, Vasquez is retiring as a player, but Vasquez has joined the Denver front office.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very. The Fort Worth Toros took on the Lone Star Glory, and the Glory won 34-33. Toros had 185 yards passing, 203 yards rushing for 388 yards total. Their time in possession was 22 minutes, 21 seconds with 2 mistakes. The Glory had 287 yards passing, 115 yards rushing for 402 yards total. Time in possession was 21 minutes, 39 seconds with 4 mistakes. Player of the game was Greg Soto. 13 receptions, 168 yards, 1 touchdown, and 12.9 yards per catch. So, Bo, how did you guys win this game?
Well, you know what? Fort Worth has always played us tough. There's no secret that they probably know us best. They're right down the road from us. They probably know us better than any other team in the SFL. So it seems kind of lopsided to say that we're 5-0 against Fort Worth, because every game we played them in seems to come down to the wire. And it was no different in this game. You know, we did what we did. What I will say about Lone Stars, we had one of our more complete games. Ike just continues to do Ike-like things. You know, she averaged 5.5 yards a carry, 21 carries for 115 yards. She's just an incredible asset to have on offense. And then on top of that, we had contributions from every single one of our offensive players almost. And everybody, you know, partook in some way. Greg Soto beasted out with 13 receptions for 168 yards. Deuce added in. Adam Williams added into the game. Dave Axis even chucked in a little bit to the game. So when you get a complete effort like that on offense, and then you've got the defense who were able to finally, you know, as we came together towards the end of the season, we really started to kind of get our bearings underneath us. And our linebacker core showed up tremendously. Interception from J Mart, and Freddie Trammell could have very easily been the MVP of that game. You know, with the interception return for a touchdown. It was a complete effort, and you know, give kudos to Fort Worth. They had a great plan for us. It was a struggle. We could not run away with this game. Give kudos to them, but I think we had just the right plan to pull out the victory, and a never say die attitude. Because when we were down at the end, we needed that. But even when they had the chance to, if they would have had that extra point, only a field goal would have tied it. But we were able to block that extra point, and the field goal won the game for us. So our team never quits, and that's one thing that really, really showed in this last game, even though we knew we were out of the playoffs.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see next season how Fort Worth turn things around. Right? I mean, they have such a complete team in my mind, and for them to have the season they did, it's going to be interesting. So
a lot of people picked them to win the division.
Yeah,
win the championship, even, man. Win the championship.
I picked them to go pretty far, especially when they signed Jeff Duffy.
When they signed, I mean, I remember listening to a couple of pods where people were picking them as a pick to go all the way, or to at least be in the championship. And it's like, I think it's a coaching issue over there. I mean, they only got stronger on paper. The only spot they got weaker at was, the X's and O's, was Comisac leaving, and look what he did to Queen City. That was, there was, I get it. People have to go their separate ways. I think that Comisac would have been, happy staying there if ownership would have let him do his thing. Ownership wanted things done a certain way, and and you can only, you got to let a coach, do his thing. You got to let a coach who knows what he's doing do his thing. If you're going to tell a coach exactly what you want and how it has to be done, you might as well coach for him. You might as well, you're just, I don't know what it is at that point. They said, we need you to do it this way. It's like, then why am I working here? So he went to a spot that, has no leash on him, and he showed that there shouldn't be a leash on him, and Queen City is one of the most dangerous teams this year. And you have a team that people were predicting to be championship contenders based on how they performed last year. Underneath him, fall to the dust, regardless of what can they do to get better on paper? You know, they're a complete team. They have a running back. They have a receiver. They have one of the best. They have a future Hall of Fame tight end. They have a great quarterback. They have a good defense. You know, it's like you need to get that coaching figured out. And I think that for a while they're going to live with that regret of letting that coach go. And I don't think they're going to make up for it in one season.
Now, did I see this, or am I just like losing my mind that Cameron Curtis retired?
Cam Curtis is retiring. This was his last game.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah, it's a shame to see a guy I've been such a fan of since the minor leagues go out the way he did, throwing that pick six to Freddie, which kudos to Freddie for getting that. It was sad to see him, go out on that kind of a loss. He's hanging up the cleats. He's making room for some new rookies to hopefully come up and do something good. And
that's going to be an interesting piece too. What do they do at quarterback, right? I mean, because now, the top of that draft is going to be kind of quarterback heavy, right? So luckily there's still some 3-year builds there, right? Johnny Reno's still in there. I think Scar Patterson, is still around. There's going to be some guys that are going to get some play here early in the draft, which is good. But at the same time, I was always a fan of Cam Curtis and how he played too. It's sad to see it, but also, hopefully he's going to be doing what he wants to do, and kudos to him for that. And good luck on that. I know he's doing some podcasts, right? If I remember correctly. So
Simulation Nation.
Yeah, Simulation Nation. So, that's what he wants to do. Great.
With Fort Worth, I was definitely one of the people to pick them to, definitely contend for the championship and go a long ways. But, and obviously they did have the coaching change, and I think they had to adjust to that. Throughout the course of the season, but I would like to. Of course, I like to see a team throw the ball, but I think they played a little bit too close to the vest. To be quite honest with you, you look up and you see these games. If you look at the stats, Cam Curtis, his passing stats are at the bottom of the league for his yardage and passes and completions and all that. So I just think you kind of hamstring your offense a little bit, in particular when you get behind, and if you don't have any type of passing attack, it's just hard to come back in games. And that's why you typically saw them play a bunch of close games, but a lot of them they came up short. So to each organization its own as how they want to approach things, but I would like to see them open it up a little bit and give some freedom to some receivers over there, and possibly even pick up a third receiver.
Yeah, and to your point, look who's calling the plays, man. Their running back is.
Well, his reputation in Albuquerque was to throw the ball a little bit. I know he likes to have some type of a balance, but
he wasn't running the ball in Albuquerque though.
Well, no, but I know he, at least the one season that I played in Albuquerque, it was kind of a mix, but it definitely wasn't just close to the vest type offense, especially when they won SFL championship a couple I think was it last season or the season before. So I don't think he had the personnel to run the type of offense that he was accustomed to running, or he wasn't allowed to run the type of offense that he's accustomed to running. Either way, you're going to have to open it up a little bit to win in this league and compete, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'll end my part on this though. I think coaching from the SFLM and coaching in the SFL is two totally different things, right? Because you're looking at different player ratings. You're looking at copper builds compared to gold star players. And it's kind of like coaching in the XFL then coming up to the NFL, right? If you want to put it in that route. So, I think he found out the hard way about the coaching wise part of it. And I think, hopefully he'll go through the off season and make the changes and utilize those two tight ends, because it seemed like they went away from Robert Garrett and Lauren Pococo. And I think, and even when we played them, when I was simming and stuff for that week, I was just afraid of how bad Robert Garrett was going to blow us up. So go back to what makes you good, right? Go back to that two tight end set and utilize those two, because they're beasts. And if you can do that, then I think there's going to be no problems there in Fort Worth.
Awesome sauce. St. Louis Gladiators took on the Atlanta Swarm, and Atlanta won 26-10. St. Louis had 192 yards passing, 60 yards rushing for 252 yards total. Their time of possession was 20 minutes, 59 seconds with 4 mistakes. Atlanta had 155 yards passing, 158 yards rushing for 313 yards total. Their time of possession was 22 minutes, 32 seconds with 1 mistake. Player of the game was BDG Hollywood. 26 attempts, 152 yards, 1 touchdown, 17 reception yards. So, Will, you came from Atlanta. Can you give us a little insight into why you think that they may have won this game?
Well, sure, Ashley. You got 2 teams that are playoff teams. Atlanta is charging into the playoffs, and St. Louis is limping into the playoffs. And I like guys on both teams, obviously, but the score doesn't indicate how I feel Atlanta dominated this game. Paraphrase Bo, BDG was doing BDG things in that game. Bryant Dynasty had, as far as efficiency is concerned, probably, if not his best game, one of his best games. Sammy Steele had 4 field goals. The defense had 4 interceptions, 2 of those by Jack Napier, who's just been a stud all season. This game, I think, kind of highlighted some of the struggles that St. Louis has been having. Christian Brown threw a lot of passes, but he had 4 picks. And Cairo Martinez, 49 yards on 18 carries. It was just a tough game for St. Louis against a really, really good peaking Atlanta team.
Good stuff. All right. So Mexico City Aztecs took on the Houston Hyenas, and Houston won 35-30. Mexico City had 372 yards passing, 121 yards rushing for 493 yards total. Their time of possession was 29 minutes and 23 seconds with 1 mistake. Houston had 324 yards passing, but only 80 yards rushing, 404 yards total. Their time of possession was only 12 minutes and 45 seconds with 2 mistakes. Unfortunately, there was not a player of the game that I saw because I could not find the in-game graphics for this game. So
I think it was Dave Burr.
I think it was.
Oh, it was?
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was Dave Burr.
All right, fantastic. So let's go over Dave Burr's stats. So he had 17 completions out of 27 attempts, 324 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and his completion percentage is 62.96. So guys, what did y'all think about this game?
Dave Burr is Rookie of the Year.
I've heard that a lot.
Not just because he was my quarterback in Lexington and I, jumped for joy when all this happened when he got drafted, and thankfully he went to the right team. But what they've been able to do with that build and how they've been able to utilize it is this is exactly why I wanted him there, because I knew if he gets into the right system that he could be a very dominant quarterback. And with the receiving core that he has there, and they're growing, and plus, if they can get Warren Murray kind of going, because it looked like there was some games where Warren just wasn't there, right? I think that this team is just, like I said, they were just this close to being out of the playoffs, but to the credit of Demond and Ethan Kai both, they've had to draft 24 players in the past 3 seasons, I feel like. So, and this is kind of what I've talked to Demond and I talked to Dave Burr about, hopefully Dave is that guy that can bring stability to that franchise and be able to keep those players there. And once he does that, then that team is going to grow and you're going to see the results of that. And Dave, like I said, he's just a beast all season, him and that parakeet. You can hear that thing in the background when you're talking to him. But it's just, he had a fantastic season. I can't say enough about it. So Dave Burr is automatic Rookie of the Year. Don't even just think about anybody else. All
right, then. The Denver Nightwings took on the Sioux Falls Sparrows, and the Sparrows won 27-24. A lot of close games this week. Denver had 317 yards passing, 170 yards rushing for 424 yards total. Their time of possession was 22 minutes 4 seconds with 2 mistakes. Sioux Falls had 270 yards passing, 92 yards rushing for 362 yards total. Their time of possession was 21 minutes, 56 seconds with 2 mistakes. Colin Hart was the player of the game with 23 attempts, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 reception yards. So guys, what do we think about this one?
This was a very interesting matchup. Of course, Denver still had an outside shot at the playoffs, but a long shot at best. But it's an interesting matchup because I like the direction that both of these teams are going in over the past few weeks of the season. Bailey O'Shaughnessy and Eric Price, they really came on strong the past few weeks. And for Sioux Falls, what I thought was interesting, I don't know what changes they made, but they definitely got things going offensively, and I'm curious as to seeing if they figured things out as to what they want to do moving forward. Are they going to revert back to some of the things that they used to do prior to this season? But one thing that they did do, they as you mentioned, Colin Hart was player of the game. They started getting him going over the past couple of weeks, and all of a sudden they started scoring points. But they were balanced. They did pass the ball and got Noe Terrazas involved in this offense. So I'm be curious to see what they do going forward next season and see if we'll see the old Sioux Falls come back in season 18, and as well as for Denver. These guys are basically not rookies anymore at this point of the season. I want to see how they're going to start out next season. If they, as long as they keep everything the same and not make too many changes. And one thing I did notice about Denver, we didn't hear much from Raleigh Quintero at all this season.
No.
It's like, man, where is he? No returns, no punt returns, no kick returns. Didn't see him much in the passing game. So if they hold things together, I would like to see how both of these teams come in the next season. But yeah, they both improved over the past few weeks of the season.
Gotcha. A game I don't really want to talk about, but I have to. The Las Vegas Fury took on the Arizona Scorpions, and Las Vegas won 25-24. Las Vegas had 362 yards passing, 51 yards rushing for 413 yards total. Time of possession was 22 minutes and 1 second, with only 1 mistake. Arizona had 372 yards passing, 83 yards rushing for 455 yards total. Time of possession was 21 minutes, 45 seconds with 5, count them, 5.
Oh, God.
Shut up. Interceptions.
Woo!
Mason Kirby was the player of the game with 8 receptions, 192 yards, 1 touchdown, and 24 yards per catch. So,
just throw 5 more interceptions this week and we're good.
No, what? See, don't start.
Just bank it. Bank it.
So wait a minute, Ashley. When it was each of our turns to talk about our games, you asked for each one of us to talk about our games. So let's go ahead and you tell us what happened, Ashley.
Bo, I'm getting to that. Can I work up to it? Is that okay? Jesus. Okay, but our run game was stifled, and I decided that I was going to do have the most completions in a one single game by, I guess, completing the pass to everybody that was going to catch it. I don't know what went wrong. Besides the 5 interceptions that I threw, DJ only running for 83 yards. I think that was the reason that Las Vegas was successful, really. What do you think, Will?
Well, I love my quarterback, but as I always say, turnovers will kill you. And when you throw when you have a lot of turnovers, that's just usually how the games will typically go. Mm-hmm. One of the things, our defense played great, except when we gave them great field position. We stopped some of their drives, but they were still within field goal range. They kicked 4 field goals. Matt Rage kicked 4 field goals, and a lot of those were on drives that we gave them excellent field position, even though because our defense was able to, we had 7 sacks in that game. We were able to stop them on several of their drives, but if you stop them on your own 30, they're still going to kick a field goal.
Exactly.
I have a couple points I'd like to make, Ashley.
Sure.
When we were talking about this game coming up last week on the show, two things come to mind right away. One, Eddie did say that it would be a 1-point game in overtime. He got almost all of that right.
Almost.
Two, I remember asking you not to throw it to anybody with the pink on their color on their uniform. I remember asking you not to do that. So thanks for not doing that. You guys, it was a hard fought game. You guys were very even the whole way through. Like you read off the stats. Like you guys, stat wise, time of possession wise, all of that. You guys were even all the way through. Two things that made a difference. I don't think, and I forget what his name is on your team. Number 89 didn't do enough for you.
Well, don't you get on my well.
I'm just teasing. Well, he had a great game. He
did.
What do you have? Like 162 yards and a touchdown or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
But keep in mind, you were playing a team that has a user punter. What's his name, Bo? What's that user punter's name?
Dustin McCrack.
Jesus.
Correct, Dustin McCrack. He put you in some bad positions, and you guys didn't produce all the time. But I mean, it was a well fought game by both of you.
Listen, when there's Dustin McCrack involved, it's always a problem, and you guys should have figured that one out.
Yeah.
That's why they lost. Dustin McCrack.
They lost due to Dustin McCrack.
I mean, yeah, I didn't get to watch. I didn't get
a lot of Dustin McCrack this weekend.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't watch a whole lot of the game due to the fact that I was watching us beat Baltimore. But what I caught at the end of it, obviously with the turnovers and stuff like that, I mean, you just got to watch out for that sort of stuff. But I mean, this weekend, obviously you don't. I mean, you could go ahead and throw it to any of our London night corners. It's fine. It doesn't matter. If you just don't want to show up, that's fine too. Okay. I mean, it's fine. Look, that's
really nice of you, Chad. That's really nice.
I don't want Eddie to feel bad if I go 2-0 against him in my career as a head coach.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll sit down if Johnny sit down. Me and him both sit down together, then we'll see what we got.
All right, we got Arthur Pendragon behind him. We're good.
Oh, okay.
You hear that, right, Johnny?
What was that?
He said they don't need you. They got Arthur Pendragon.
They'll just switch me over to quarterback. I was a
Mike's gonna run the Wildcat. We'll be all right.
That's right. We're gonna run the Wildcat, Mike St.Green.
Look, you might be better off having Mike St.Green doing that.
Listen to that.
Stop it.
Listen to that.
What was how did you throw more touchdowns than interceptions this year, or was it another year you threw more interceptions than touchdowns?
Actually, I did better, Johnny. Thank you.
I know you did. I know you've been doing better, and that offense has been improving, but still, like on an overall, like what was your total touchdowns this year?
I don't know.
Next thing you know, Johnny's gonna be unable to come off mute.
Yeah, there's. I think
it's a good point, but I do.
I think you're still working towards that positive touchdown to interception ratio, but you'll get it one of these years. It took I know I did it my rookie year. I know I did it my sophomore year. I know that Twin Screw fucked me up last year, and I know that Chad fixed me this year. But 3 out of 4 playoffs, we're good. I think you're still working towards that first year. With that positive ratio, but just keep going out there, throwing it like a girl. Like it's gonna happen.
Oh, wow,
Johnny! You act like, first of all, you act like you just a clean quarterback. Like you ain't did none of that. You have the nickname Pickles because you throw so many picks.
No, if anything,
I was trying to emulate you.
Yeah, well, I always told you to take notes. At least you.
That's one thing apparently I got.
But you're only watching my interceptions. You're not watching the touchdowns. So watch all of it.
Let's hang on. So Johnny had 35 touchdowns, had 30 interceptions. Ashley had 19 touchdowns, 24 interceptions.
So +5, -5. We got 10. 10 difference.
Yeah. Either way, it's getting better.
We'll handle it this weekend. We'll handle it this weekend, Ashley.
Hey,
right?
You know what? I have always said that, and I've been on record saying it, that if Eddie ever figured out the offense, the whole league would be on watch. And so, they've improved. They've won their division. Especially when we got into divisions, Eddie bitched and moaned about being in that division, Look what he's done now.
I think that division's going to be his for a while, to be honest.
Oh,
I really do. I think that Scorpions are only going up. I think Denver's not a threat anymore. I think it's their division for a while if they hold steady.
Dang, Johnny.
He brings the heat.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I want y'all to say what y'all just said to the man himself.
Eddie Serifus.
What does Eddie want to know?
Hey, you just popped in right on time, man. We were just talking about our game.
Johnny was saying he ain't connected yet. Oh. There he goes.
Hey.
Johnny was saying something with his chest.
What up, though?
What up, man?
What up, yo?
Mike, where did you come from?
Leaving work?
No, you didn't see Mike. You'll see it. You'll see it. What I mean.
Yeah, just watch the show. You'll see it.
Oh my God. So we were just talking about the interception and touchdown ratio that I have. Apparently, I've thrown 19 interceptions and 19 touchdowns. 19 touchdowns and 24 interceptions.
And your quarterback's blaming you, coach. What do you got to say about it?
Oh.
But she got less interceptions thrown than you do.
And a far amount, a lot less touchdowns. I got more touchdowns.
This is what's fantastic.
Here's gonna be the one thing.
I'm gonna go ahead.
You don't have to compare me and her. Like, I'm gonna end up in the Pro Bowl and she's not. You know. So
how do you know?
Hey, you going to the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, you damn right. and two of my receivers are too. I'm gonna be throwing it to them. I don't want anyone else on my team.
That's what's up.
As long as you're not coaching me in the Pro Bowl like you did my first year, then I should have an all right fucking Pro Bowl appearance.
I never coached a game of office before then, but have you noticed the gradual improvement?
Yes, dude. I am a fan, Eddie. You know I'm a fan of yours. I just finished saying that I think that Arizona is going to be the team to beat in your division for a long time. I think it's your division now.
I hope so.
You're the king of it, and congratulations.
Appreciate it.
So, Eddie, do you want to quickly give your opinion? Give us your opinion about why we fell short by 1 point.
Of what?
Of winning this week.
Of what?
Of winning this week.
Oh, turnovers, man. Turnovers.
Yeah.
They got 5 of them. We only got 1. That was the difference in the game.
Okay.
We got DJ going. I mean, when we wasn't throwing turnovers, we was moving the ball downfield. But fucking turnovers killed us.
Mm-hmm. So were you just trying something new on offense and it just didn't pan out for you, or did you pick some of the book? Or?
I mean, basically, our Sims look good all week. I mean, they did a couple of things that I didn't anticipate, but it wasn't nothing drastic that changed my betting on the game when I saw it playing out. Please let this door be unlocked.
Did Eddie get lost in the stadium?
I mean, he's in Arizona Diamondback Stadium. Nobody goes there anyway, do they?
Not these days. Season over for us.
Season over there. Nobody's there.
They only won like 40 games, didn't they?
Was it that many?
I don't remember. They were terrible.
They was god awful.
Yeah,
god awful. 106 games.
Yeah, my boys won 100. My boys won the division, so that's all that matters to me. But
what's up?
Anyway,
we are getting ready to end things off with last game. The Baltimore Vultures took on the London Knights, and London won 34-24. And they broke that undefeated season they were having, and it was surprising to me. I'm gonna be honest. I picked Baltimore to win, but London did what they had to do to get it done, and that was passing for 398 yards, rushing for 34, with total yardage being 432 yards. They held the ball for 24 minutes 53 seconds with 2 mistakes. Baltimore, on the other hand, had 319 yards passing, 71 yards rushing for 390 yards total. Their time of possession was 18 minutes, 8 seconds, 5 mistakes. And guess who is the player of the game? Mr. Johnny Pickner with 36 completions out of 55 attempts, 398 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a quarterback rating of 89.8. So before y'all start, because I know y'all getting ready to take over this whole thing for about the next maybe 5 or 10 minutes, I want to say you guys had a phenomenal game. The passing was on point in comparison to Baltimore Jag Wigmore. You did make less mistakes, even though there was 2 mistakes that were there. And looks like you guys just controlled the ball better, especially having the time of possession at 24 minutes comparatively to 18 minutes for them. But floor is yours, y'all.
I mean, look. First of all, keep bumping me and Vin. Keep playing that 2 bump. We don't care about that. We're gonna still get our numbers. You can't slow us down. I mean, yeah, you may slow us down a little bit. We're not gonna, hit you with the 80-yard bombs or anything like that. But yeah, keep bumping us. We don't care. We're big enough to get off the line. But look, what happens when you do that? I have a big tight end that goes off for damn near 200 yards receiving. So hey, we got plenty of weapons, and my man Saren Storm is going to get his. So keep bumping, Vin and me. Please bump us again this week, Eddie. So follow the lead of everybody else, and because every time somebody tries to bump us, they lose the game anyway. I still get about 15 catches, and so it don't matter.
This is new. I don't remember this mic. Where did this mic come from?
Keep bumping MSG, man.
Johnny, you've been coaching him up?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't need to coach him up. Mike's a boss himself, but we're like peanut butter and jelly, baby. Like we go good together, and you can't get a better combination. I will say, just to piggyback off Mike, I have the deadliest weapons in the league, and I'll put them up against any team any day. And going into this game, there's a lot of teams that didn't believe in us. Says, Baltimore is going to be 12-0. We don't have a chance. I mean, our team never gave up belief. I appeared on the Sim Pod. I never thought I'd be on that show, but I was last week, and they asked me about how I felt coming into this game, and I said that Baltimore's a great team. They're the best team in this league right now. I said, but we have a puncher's shot at winning this game, and that's all that we need, because we are a team that can throw punches and that can strike at any given time. So as long as we can give them a knockout punch or two, our team has the makeup to beat the best teams in this league because of how fast we can strike and because of how often we can strike. So I mean, there's not a team that we're afraid of. And really, I appreciate, getting player of the game. I'd give that game ball to my defense. That defense played the best game they have all season. I mean, 5 interceptions on Jack Wigmore. Jack Wigmore, who's probably going to get the MVP of this league, and deservedly so. For him to fold in the fourth quarter and for the defense to step up. I mean, I got to name names. I mean, you had Brandon Ewing with 2 interceptions. You had Tanner Hendricks. Know these names, Ashley. Know these names. Know where they're at on the field, because they're all over the field. You had Tanner Hendricks with an interception. You had Emmanuel Blackman with a pick 6 in the fourth quarter. Tanner. Wyo. Can't forget about Wyo. You had Wyo with an interception. That's 5 interceptions right there. Against arguably the quarterback who played the best all season. So, I mean, they're salivating for you next week. I got to give the credit to my defense. On top of that, I mean, even besides the interceptions, there were such huge plays on the ground where our guys stopped. So many, I think we only sacked Wigmore once, but the tackles for loss, I think Roberto had 2 tackles for loss. Davidson had 3 tackles for loss. Another guy had 2 tackles. I mean, we were all over the field. I love watching my defense. I love watching them thrive, and they played a great game. When our defense plays like that, we will never lose, So, I mean, to see us coming off our best game of the season as a complete team, we are a tough draw in the playoffs. And I wouldn't want to be, and it's not even just because we're on the show with you guys. I would hate to draw us right now. And like I said, I was confident coming into this game. We have the makeup with the way that with our air raid attack, and with the way we have playmakers on defense, we've lacked the consistency all season, but the commissioner knows. Everybody who knows anything about this league knows that we have the talent to go out and beat anyone on any given Sunday, and that's just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could chime in. I mean, these guys pretty much took care of what I was going to say. I mean, obviously, but I mean, according to some people, Baltimore threw this game for me.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's some conspiracy theorists out there. Well, they need two teams to lose. So, Ashley, can I just ask you, Ashley, Eddie, did you guys throw that game so that Vegas could win that game? Did you guys do that?
Hell no.
Okay, because I think because Louisiana, Vegas might have let you guys, lose, and the ref won their game last week.
I'm just making fun, right? I mean, it's all good, but here's the thing, right? I mean, we just like you said, I mean, we obviously are a team that we can strike at any time. We've been like that all season. We had our struggles right in the middle of the season, obviously losing by 7 to Portland, losing that game against Louisiana. Those were struggle games, right? And obviously getting blown out by Baltimore in week 8, by 20 some points. That was when this team really kind of turned it around, right? We beat Carolina in week 9. We played a really good game against Florida in week 10, lost that one by 11, came back. We beat DC in a knock drag out type of game, right? By 3 points, 17 to 14, and then came out and really showed what we can be, right? Against Baltimore, a team that is so talented at every damn position they have. Like, it's ungodly. But I got to give credit to, the rest of the staff that I have, with Tanner and Benji and Jeff and all of us. Really, we put in a lot of work these past few weeks to make sure that we had a shot at the playoffs. And we knew, with a 5-6 record, if we go in and beat Baltimore, that we were in, just because of the fact that strength of schedule would shoot up, plus the common games, which is what really came down to. Everybody can bitch and moan about the strength of schedule, but strength of victory. But at the end of the day, it came down to common games, right? And so with us having better common game record than Vegas, that's why we're ahead of Vegas in this situation. So, all these guys in London, I mean, all 20 of us, we all balled out all season long. And, when I made the promise when I came into season 16 to Liam that we would be a playoff team, and here we are. We're able to give Liam his first ever playoff appearance as a player or as an owner. That's a phenomenal thing. And all of us in the VC that night, even Cam jumped in to listen to it, to hear the emotion of all of us that were in there and celebrating. I mean, Liam was drinking at 6 o'clock in the morning London time. I mean, for God's sakes. So to hear all that, it just makes everything that happened this season just so much better.
Awesome.
And plus the playoffs wouldn't be the same without MSG in them anyway. So we had to make that happen.
Anybody else want to add to this? Dang it, MSG.
I just want to add something real quick because I'm just not getting here. What I haven't heard your podcast, Ashley.
Yeah.
But I heard that Craven kind of went in on that Baltimore-London game.
Yeah. Hey, Eddie, hang on. He said basically that Baltimore threw the game because they wanted to help me out and get into the playoffs. Like, isn't that like the craziest thing you ever heard? Especially from
what? Based off of what?
That's what I'm saying.
Based off of a lot of saltiness, man, of a team that was like that wanted to make the playoffs and thought they were going to make it. Do you know any team that would give up a chance at a perfect season to let give up the integrity factor, the pride to let a team win? And they needed you guys to if you guys would have won that game, they would be in as well. So I mean, I guess they're claiming that both teams really kind of sold that game.
Yeah, and I was going to say, once Vegas won, Louisiana probably were going to be on the outside looking in regardless because their strength of victory wasn't going to be good enough.
Correct. Yeah.
So,
which is why he had issues with it in the first place. That's why he was talking about the strength of victory anyway.
I mean, well, it is what it is. That's what
here's the crazy thing
that's
about
the way it's formatted. I mean, it's strength of victory, then it goes to common opponents. I mean, what is that to argue about? If we would have if we would have been on the outside looking in, it is what it is. But to go down this conspiracy theory of somebody throwing a game, that's you're getting into people's integrity when you do that stuff, and I really don't like that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying is the fact that I got into that Baltimore locker room, right? I was in there. TJ took a chance on me, made me a GM before I even signed my first fucking contract, right? Eddie Gauge can tell you better than anybody. That's who got him in this league, is TJ, right? And Eddie will tell that all day. There is no way on God's earth that any of them two would even throw a game from my point of view, right? And Eddie will agree with that 110%. And it's just to even say that is the fact that it just feels like kind of like what Johnny was saying. It's a little bit of saltiness. I don't even know why. Don't really care at the end of the day. But it's absolutely ridiculous that you would throw out something like that, even if it's a joke or not, to throw out something like that saying that somebody would throw a game purposely for me is just absolute bullshit. And I feel bad. I feel bad for TJ. Hang on. And I feel bad for TJ because TJ's now got to be dragging this along with T-Pat, who are two really good dudes that I've gotten to know very well. That's my 2 cents on it.
If I may, I actually talked to TJ about it because he DM'd me about it.
Oh, he's DMing me still.
Yeah, and he said that he had a talk with Craven and they wound up working things out, and he just wanted me to know. Yeah, I guess the understanding is there. So now, Brian.
Well, that's fine if they worked it out, but it's just
I understand.
Louisiana, they're all prone to some knee-jerk reactions, and then they end up saying sorry about it. But yeah, I mean, sorry, beating Tulsa wasn't good enough for you. They're 2-10. Like you said, strength of victory. If you want to be in the playoffs, win another game. Beat St. Louis or beat LA the week beforehand. Couldn't be done. We're both 6-6. Better team made the playoffs. Why waste a good game right here?
Gotcha. Well, gentlemen, this has been a very, very interesting conversation, and it's getting ready to get even better because we're sliding over to SFL chat around the water cooler. So before I start with this, though, I want to say congratulations. First of all, good game to all the teams of the league. I think, even Tulsa struggled, but they won 2 games. You know what I mean? It's not anybody, no one went 0-12. So with that, good game. Of course, there are some teams that definitely need to go back to the drawing board and work on things to be more effective on the field. But I think overall, this was a highly entertaining season. I believe that there were a lot more close games this season than at least that I've seen since I've been in the league since season 12. It's just been like a lot of just really, really close games. Coaches are getting better acclimated with the legend settings, and we've been seeing some really great ball. So congratulations for making it to the end, guys. Everybody that made the playoffs, big ups to you. You did what you had to do to make it to this point. It is very hard to do this, especially since everyone is so much more competitive. So kudos and congratulations to everybody again. Now,
always so nice, Ashley.
Yes. Well, got to bring the balance sometimes.
Oh, this may get nasty. Never mind. Sorry. I'm speaking out of turn. Go ahead.
Yes. And I got a mute button too. So, but all right. So the wildcard games will be this Saturday and Sunday. So it's kind of weird. On Sunday, October the 17th, Los Angeles will be taking on Charleston. Los Angeles is currently the number 9 seed. Charleston is the number 8 seed. They will be playing 3:30 p.m. Eastern on For the Fans Twitch network. So, gentlemen, who do you think is going to take it and why?
I think Charleston. They're playing really good football right now. They're gonna be solid on the ground. The secondary, they're really, really talented. And if Los Angeles doesn't figure out a run game, and if they put it in Sully Richardson's hands, as I mentioned earlier, 10 interceptions in the past 2 weeks, they're going to struggle in this game. But and one thing I did like about Charleston against Jacksonville, that they kind of opened that offense up a little bit, and it's going to be, now they're going to give LA some question marks as to maybe how to attack them defensively. But Charleston at home, solid running game. They like to play tough, tight games anyway. So I think that home field advantage is going to get them the victory.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. I'm going to go Charleston also. I just think TD Drew is playing better than Sully Richardson is right now, and I think he's going to give him the edge.
All right, Mike. All.
So I think this game is just going to come down to who's got the better defense, and definitely on paper, Charleston has the better defense. I mean, any defense that has Jack Brown on it is going to be the better defense. But they got Zach Lay, they got all those guys out there that can just kill it. And yeah, we definitely gave Charleston some good good-looking game tape to bring to the playoffs. But it's definitely going to be all about the defense in this one, and I think Charleston's defense is the stronger.
Gotcha. What about you, JP?
I like Charleston in this game, but I think it could be a bit of a trap game. I like Charleston just because I'm kind of on this going with momentum, and they've, I think, won 5 out of their last 7 games to end the season. Where I spoke about earlier, I'm worried about San Diego losing 4 of their last 6 games. But when you take a deep dive into it, you gotta, I'm looking at Charleston's wins, and they're playing complete games, but I mean they're not beating playoff quality teams. They're beating, they just pounded Jacksonville. So sorry, Mike, but they beat Carolina before that. Then they get pounded by Queen City. Then they lose by 16 to Florida. Then they had a win against Sioux Falls, who's struggling. They beat a San Diego by 3 points. They beat a non-playoff Lone Star. They lose to a Fort Worth. So, I mean, when you go back in their schedule, it's not, they don't have any wins that impress me, but they beat who was on their schedule. So that's worth saying enough, but the knee-jerk reaction me would be like, lock it in, Charleston, they're going to take this game. They've been rolling. They won 5 out of the last 7. LA, they've been losing. They've lost 4 of the last 6. But when I look at the games, it's like, damn, LA has really played some playoff teams. They played some tough teams. They've beaten some Portlands. They've played tough against Vancouver's. And I just see Charleston's schedule, and it's like I don't see things that impress me that much. They got the wins where they were supposed to, where a lot of teams fail to even do that. But I think it's going to be a very close game and a great game to open the weekend.
Gotcha.
So, but Charleston, I guess, is my pick, though.
All right, and Bo.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with my gut here, and even though Charleston is the hosting team, I'm gonna go Los Angeles here.
Okay. And Eddie.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
First of all, shout out to Johnny, man, for doing his homework. I didn't think Johnny was that smart. He's too busy bragging about himself and his own personal accomplishments. So to hear him, mention those kind of facts and stuff like that, Johnny and the data he just brought up is the kind of material I would like to see brought to the Dave Axel show when giving their feedback on teams and why they think certain teams are win or lose, and vice versa, stuff like that. Nothing against nobody else, but that's the kind of info we need when people are providing input, rather than just don't tell us who you think will win, but tell us why you think they'll win. And here Johnny backed that up with the data he just did was phenomenal. So shout out to him for doing his homework instead of just talking about how he woke up this morning feeling like the best quarterback in the SFL. But all that said, I agree with him. LA has played the better opposition throughout the season. They got better quality wins. That said, that offense and defense, for that matter, that Charleston put on display versus Jacksonville, I mean, that was like, I called that game in the broadcast booth, and it was like they had 2 weeks to prepare for that game, because they had an answer for everything Jacksonville did, both offensively and defensively. But all that said, both teams have great defenses, and all quiet is kept. Corey Mena, to me, is one of the better cornerbacks in the SFL that's on Charleston. But with all that said, I think, the win in the playoffs, you got to be battle tested, and LA is. And despite the fact they're on the road, I think they're going to find a way to come out with the win.
All right. Gotcha. Also on Sunday, October the 17th at 6 p.m. on SFL's Twitch channel, St. Louis, the number 12th seed, will be taking on the number 5 seed, the Vancouver Legion. And I think I'm going to go with Vancouver on this one. What do you say, Bo?
Yeah, it's kind of like I was saying earlier when we were talking about recapping Vancouver's game for week 12. It's going to come down to, can St. Louis's defense slow down Vancouver's high-flying offense? And that's a tall task for St. Louis to do. I don't see them being able to stop them enough to win this game. I got a lot of respect for what Winkler does out there and what everybody else is doing out there with St. Louis, but I think this one's going to go to Vancouver. I think there's just too much firepower to slow down Vancouver enough to get the victory. They'll slow them down some, but they won't slow them down enough to get the victory. Exactly.
Like you were talking about earlier, you have way too many weapons to pass to. Way too many effective weapons that will not drop that ball. And even with it, you decide to run it, you got Robert Redford. So they're very difficult to plan for. What do you think about that? Mike, St.Green, MSG, I should say.
St. Louis actually beat Vancouver in week 10.
Yep.
30-16. They held Tom Pepper to a very pedestrian day for what we expect out of Tom Pepper. 18 out of 34, 235 yards, 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions. We don't typically see a day like that out of him. Robert Redford only 29 yards rushing. Chris Curtis had a pretty decent game, 115 yards receiving. But other than that, they pretty much shut Vancouver down. No other receiver had over 50 yards receiving in that game for Vancouver. So St. Louis, they definitely have a defense that's capable of, in particular in the secondary, they have 6 contract DBs back there, and they all, can hawk to the ball. But one thing I did see against Atlanta last weekend, even though they lost that game, the defensive line really stepped up and put a lot of pressure on Bryant Dynasty in that game. So Vancouver is going to have their work cut out for them in this game. Who's going to win? I'm going to lean towards St. Louis. I mean, because what I've seen all season long from Vancouver, they obviously Tom Pepper still puts up his numbers, but it's something kind of off when I watch them. They're not as consistent as they once were to me. But I think this defense is going to get them trouble. We'll see what adjustments that Andy and the staff over there makes in this game from a couple weeks ago. But I think St. Louis is capable of going in there and winning again.
Okay. What you got, Chad?
And it's like Mike's in my head. That's what I was going to bring up, was that the fact that they, St. Louis beat them already. And so, going into this game, that can make a very motivated Andy Hamilton, right, to try to find a way to beat this team. Usually what I always hear, that he coaches better when he's angry or something. I can't remember what story somebody told me, but regardless, getting those weapons involved that they have, obviously, and I think if they give Robert Redford going down on the run game, I think Vancouver takes this game. I think he's going to find ways to be able to force Christian Brown into terrible throws to where they're going to be able to pick the ball off with Asher Rose Finch and these other corners that they have. I'm going to take Vancouver, but it's not going to be like an easy game. I think it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out type of game, but I think Vancouver's going to take it in the end.
All right. What about you, Mike All?
So Vancouver and Jacksonville have a wonderful rivalry. So I know firsthand what Andy and company can do. We beat them once in my time here in Jacksonville, and they've come back and beat us 3 times to make up for that loss that we gave them. So, kudos to St. Louis for handling their business in week 10. But yeah, an angry Andy is not an Andy you want to face. He's going to come back at him harder and stronger than he did the first time. And I think Vancouver does pull this one out.
All right. Will, what you got?
There. I'm going to go with Vancouver. I agree that St. Louis has got a great defense. In fact, it's carried them through some games this year when their offense wasn't really clicking. But I just, as I said earlier, I feel St. Louis is kind of limping into the playoffs, and unless they have a big turnaround in this week in preparation for Vancouver, I just don't think they're going to be able to keep up.
Gotcha. JP, talk to me.
Yeah, no, I'd say what a lot of these guys said already, but I think Vancouver is going to pull it out. That's who I pick as my winner. I'd say I'm rooting for St. Louis to pull it off. Still got a lot of old ties over there. I think they're still chasing that first ever franchise playoff victory. I think this will be their third time in the playoffs in the last 4 years. And they were before I was drafted by them, they weren't a playoff team. They had never made the playoffs. When I remember when Gerald and I were there, we made the playoffs. They had a downward spiral with Vasquez in charge the next year. Then third year they won the division and won it last year, made the playoffs last year, lost in the first round. Now they're back in it, another first round test. So I mean, I'd love to see them make history for themselves and for that organization and get a first overall playoff victory for that franchise. But I have a lot of respect for Andy Hamilton, and I think that they are. I think if they're on all cylinders, I don't think that St. Louis can match up against them. It's just a matter of which version of both teams come out to play. And I think that I'm going to pick Vancouver this week, but I'd love to see an upset.
Gotcha. And lastly, Eddie.
St. Louis defeated Vancouver in Vancouver, and they got to do it again if they're going to move on this week in Vancouver. Man, St. Louis, they are kind of a weird team to figure out because their offense is built to play with a lead, and they were able to do so with turnovers and short fields when they played Vancouver the first time around. The good news for Vancouver is it's hard to defeat a team twice in one season. And they got tape on St. Louis, in regards to what they did to them the first time around. Man, this game is almost a pick-em to me because of the way that St. Louis is built. Because their defense is built to stop, finesse backs, or to limit finesse backs, I should say. And they did a great job the first time around. Can they do it again? I don't know, because I'm sure Andy's going to make some quirks in his offense. And because, like I said, they've seen him one time already. All that said, golly, I can't see Andy losing in the first round of playoffs. And I don't remember the last time. Has St. Louis ever had a playoff win? I don't even know. But
no, I don't think they have.
Yeah, so it's gonna be tough. Oh man. Fuck. Sorry, my bad.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna go with
Vancouver?
Yeah, but it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough.
I know. There are no bad teams here. So everything is gonna be tough. Speaking of another tough game, on Saturday, October 16th, I don't know why Cam did this graphic like this. Crazy. At 1 p.m. Eastern on SFL's Twitch channel, the Las Vegas Fury the number 11th seed Las Vegas Fury will be taking on the number 6th seed Queen City. It's going to be an awesome game to watch, but I think with the momentum that Queen City has, I don't think Las Vegas, I don't know if the defense is going to be able to hold up to Queen City, so I'm going Queen City on this one.
Well, Queen City kind of struggled coming down the stretch. And obviously they just lost last week, to DC. This is an interesting matchup because of course Vegas, they haven't just hit on all cylinders all season long either. So, and because the week prior to playing Arizona, the offense really struggled against Lone Star, but the defense played well enough to win that game. Man, I'm kind of like struggling with like Eddie on this one, but you're going to see a lot of Jet Zero. I don't think we've saw enough of him over the past couple of weeks. They seem like they tried to get their passing game going for whatever reason. I mean, I guess to try to show some type of balance, but they do have a strong defense, even though you can't really pick out one person in particular and say, oh, he had a great season. But one person that did have a great season was the rookie cornerback on defense. It's probably going to be the defensive rookie of the year is Cody Griffin. So going to be an interesting game. And Vegas coming in with a rookie quarterback, I think that's going to factor into this. And Chris Komisak, he's one of the best coaches in the league. I think he's going to game plan them, and Queen City's going to come out with the victory at home.
Gotcha. Well,
But what Komisak has been able to do with this team is absolutely amazing. And I know I would say he doesn't get enough credit. He gets a lot of credit, so let me be clear. But it can't be overstated what he did, because if you look at Queen City lost, how many players did they lose? 7? They lost at least 5. I don't remember the exact number, but I know it was at least 5. So they almost had to come in and do a complete overhaul of that team. And so for Chris Kamasak to come in and just hit the ground running and what he's done with that team to shape them into the juggernaut that they are, he immediately made them relevant again. And there's really nobody else that you can think of to give the credit for such a quick turnaround other than to him. And so he's got that team clicking. I know they faltered, recently on the stretch. And I know Las Vegas, they beat us in week 11. So I know what Las Vegas can do. I saw it all too well. But with all due respect, I think that Queen City's going to be able to handle their business.
What's that?
Apparently, Eddie agrees with me.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I just saw a motorcycle whiz past me. Brought back memories.
Okay. Will?
I think Queen City's going to take this. If they can get Jet Zero going, I just don't think Las Vegas can stop them. I just think Queen City, even though they've kind of stumbled here late in the season a little bit, I just think they're going to be too much for Las Vegas.
Gotcha. Mike?
Yeah, so, a lot of props go out to Eric and Hubba for what they did, bringing in those guys over there, having the foresight to bring in BJ Loveless, one of the best linebackers in the game, as Eddie always likes to point out. And he did a great job of finding the talent. They brought in Chris Kamasak, one of my good friends, to take over the coaching duties, and they built themselves back into a version of what Queen City used to be back in the day, the 4 championship team. Las Vegas, I love those guys over there. They've kind of had an up and down season. They did manage to beat you this last week. However, I don't know that they have enough to overcome what I think Chris and company can bring to them this week. So I'm going to say it's Queen City moving on to the next round.
I love how you did that little small dig in there, Mike. I hear you. Chad?
To me, that's Freddie. To me, I think Queen City deserves a lot of credit. Eric, bringing in, Chris Kamasak and them guys, now they got the Crow's Nest podcast going too with Andre Krim and them. BJ Loveless is just a beast at linebacker. He's done a great job as a GM for that team, bringing in the talent. They had Jay Hayden as a scout. I know him from Baltimore from bringing him as a non-contract tight end. But I'm going to take Vegas. Okay. And here's my thinking. I think the roster of Vegas is stacked better than the roster of Queen City, right? Because when you're looking at that secondary, man, and Eddie knows it just as well as anybody. Having Itera, I think that's how you pronounce it, if I remember that correctly, Itera. And then Max Jackson's a beast. Like, does anybody just forget about Max Jackson, right? And they have a good defensive line with Rhett Sawyer. You got Slim Shady in there in the middle. I think that they'll probably try to utilize Jet Zero a little bit more, and I think they should. But I think this is a defense that can actually stop them, right? And if they can stop Jet Zero and they try to go over the top, I don't see them beating that secondary. So in my mind, I'm going to go with Vegas on this game.
Okay.
And that's not only because John Bond did not meet me when he was in Indianapolis. That makes me mad too. I should have went Queen City, but you know what? I'm going to go with Vegas. And if they win, he needs to come to Indy and have dinner or have lunch or whatever. So.
All right. Sounds good. JP, did I get you?
No. I'll keep it pretty short. I think that I'm going to go with Queen City. I don't know how I couldn't here. I do, Chad almost had me convinced, to a little bit that it will be a closer game, and it may very well be. I have respect for nothing but respect for both teams. I think that, Queen City, they've been a very deadly team all year. They've proved they're another team from the north who's a playoff team, and yeah, they just took a loss to DC to end the season. DC is no team to sleep on. They beat DC earlier in the year, and again, they're a very battle-tested team. Yeah, they lost a couple games to end the season. The game they lost before DC was against Baltimore, an 11-1 team. A lot of teams lost to Baltimore. And they lost to Florida Storm. That was their most recent loss before that. So you got a Florida Storm loss, a Baltimore loss, and then they split games against DC. They're very good. Their most recent victory was against Charleston, and they blew Charleston out of the water like 38-6 or something like that. And we're all talking up Charleston on how good they are. So let's not forget how good and powerful this Queen City team is, how well coached they are, and the fact that they're playing at home. I think they're a lot more battle tested than Las Vegas is this year. Although Las Vegas they're not battle tested. They have some impressive wins. I like momentum. I like the fact that they're coming off a very close win against Arizona and a big win against Lone Star. If you don't throw 5 interceptions, though, in that game, which you have not been prone to do that all year, you've been a better version of yourself, Ashley. I think it was kind of a flukish game. I think things went for them. I think everything clicked that needed to for Vegas to win that game, and they got the win right there. Or else I think that's a loss, if you don't make those mistakes that you did. And they had a win against Vancouver earlier in the season, which was impressive. I do think, either team's capable of winning this game. It's which version of which team shows up. But I think it'd be stupid to put your money against a Queen City team while they're at home right now.
All right. Good point. Eddie? What'd you say?
I said I must be stupid.
But both of you bring up some very good points. Why couldn't both of you?
And he's
not
putting
any money on him. You just said you were picking him, man.
He's not wrong. I'm just saying. In my mind, I just think with the way that team is stacked, and having John Blades and Mason Kirby as well as the wide receivers along with Doug Britton. That's a.
I don't deny what you say. You bring the coach's aspect to it. You know what you're talking about,
maybe.
Mike, what are you and Mike doing? What are y'all doing?
I don't know. I figured somebody needed to compete with Mike. I don't know.
No.
Is he showing nipple? Did you miss it?
His shirt says, what is it? I jump out of planes?
On purpose.
On purpose.
Okay, so you jump out of planes on purpose, and Mike all pees and pools on purpose. Got it.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Eddie, what you got?
I got Queen City because, as someone else alluded to, Vegas has one of the better secondaries in the SFL in terms of forcing turnovers. But Queen City likes to run the ball. I think they ran the ball as much as any team in the SFL besides Portland, if I'm not mistaken. That said, man, I did not see DC putting up 30 on that defense. But, any given Sunday, I guess. But, yeah, like I said, Queen City likes to run. The strength of Vegas defense is their secondary. But I think Vegas is going to put up points, but I don't think it's going to be enough because I think Queen City is going to dominate time possession and find a way to win that game. Both teams are going to put up points in the 20s, but at the end of the day, I think Queen City walks away with it.
Okay, got it. Last game on Saturday, October the 16th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on Next Level for the fans. The London Knights, number 10th seed, will be taking on the Arizona Scorpions, number 7 seed, and Arizona won 24-10.
10? God
Yeah.
damn. Whatever you're on, I want.
Nothing yet.
My backup quarterback could get us 10 points. I said my backup quarterback could get us 10 points.
That's what's going to happen because you're going to be sitting your ass down because you ain't going to be able to do nothing.
Just run Wildcat MSG.
London's going to win this game because I'm on the team, and Eddie's going to roll all his coverage towards me and Ben and Benji and Saren. I'm going to catch maybe one pass for 10 yards, and all those guys are going to get about 15 each, and Johnny's going Johnny's going to throw for 500 and maybe 4 or 5 touchdowns. And I'm going to say, hey, man, while you're over here on me, you should be covering those other guys. So, yeah, we're going to win because I'm on the team. That's it.
Okay. No,
You can't argue that.
Oh, okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
No, I think seriously, it depends on who throws the least amount of interceptions between Johnny and I, and whose defense will come to play, because I believe that both teams are very nicely matched up on both sides of the ball. You guys get Robert Merrill involved, you never know. We get DJ involved, we know what DJ can do. I would say the only thing, seriously speaking, is if I can keep my mistakes down, because I do know Wyo very well. Wyo got like freaking 5 interceptions by himself in one game when he was on Arizona. So I know what these guys are truly capable of. It is definitely, Eddie is going to have to work very hard to game plan for you guys. I think the last time matchup that we had with you, I believe y'all passed all day. This is when Selwyn was on the team. You passed all day and only rushed for like 5 yards.
Don't bump me, Eddie. Don't bump me.
You know, so I think that if I cut down on my interceptions and fumbles, mistakes like that, and protect the ball, and capitalize off the interceptions that Johnny may throw, because we all know Johnny likes to throw. We just got to be in position to catch him. We can do that. Be good to go.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the way we look at it, right? I mean, obviously, from speaking from the London coaching staff side of things, I mean, you know, I've always said for the past however many seasons, you know, when Eddie figures out the offense, all hell may break loose. And so, you know, obviously, you know, you guys have, you know, won that division. You're the kings of your division. You've had a very good season, and you guys are a scary team, right? I mean, you still got the Hands brothers, you know, obviously, and you know, with Will Todd there now being the tight end, and then the defense you guys have with the defensive line is just, you know, a beast, right? With Mark Mello and them guys, DD Sachs. So, you know, the Sims have been fun. They've been interesting to watch this week. But you know, in the end, I think we're kind of in the same boat. I think we got a good game plan for Johnny that, you know, is going to limit the turnovers, but also excel at the same time with the weapons that we have with MSG. I mean, that dude's a diva. He's a star. I don't care what anybody says. He is an all-star, just like Ben. But I mean, it's, you know, it's going to be a good game, and
nobody ever accused you of lying.
Yep, exactly. And but that's what I'm saying. I mean, regardless of what happens, get to go up against Eddie, you know, obviously a legend when it comes to defense and everything else. So, you know, it's going to be a fun matchup regardless. So I'm looking forward to it. And it's going to be the first playoff game for London in their franchise history. So that's another reason I'm looking forward to this as well.
That is a good thing that you mentioned that, because I don't think you said they've never made it to the playoffs.
They've never. Liam has never made it as a player or an owner.
Wow. In
history. So this is the first playoff game he will ever be a part of when it comes to that. They got close once, which was when Gerald coached it to 6-6. And I think they missed by a field goal or something like that. Somebody got a field goal to win the game and it knocked London out, if I remember correctly. But they haven't been close since. I think I was like season 12 or 13, I think. Somewhere around there. Maybe it was season 13, I think, when they
13.
were.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yep. What does Eddie think? That's what I want to know. I want to hear Eddie.
I want to hear Johnny.
You want me to go first? Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Let Johnny go.
No, I mean, I think I truly do. I mean, have nothing but respect for you guys. I root for you guys all year long. I love seeing you guys win your division. I got a lot of, you know, friends on the team between you guys and Mello and you know, and stuff like that. So I mean, I think that it's gonna. But I have the utmost confidence in the Knights. I really do. I think that, you know, we're a better team than our record shows at 6-6. I think a couple of games got away from us. I think that we're when we're clicking on all cylinders. I mean, we proved by beating Baltimore that we can beat any team in this league. And so I think you guys, have it cut out for you. And I think we're going to give you our best. I trust in my leadership to put together a game plan that's going to, allow me to put the ball in my playmakers' hands. I would put my weapons up against Ashley's weapons any day. The Hands brothers are good. They're not Vin Kalia and they're not MSG. They're not as good, on the field, with results this year, and they're not as good on paper, with what they're rated. And Saren Storm is an insanely good slot receiver. And Benji is a hell of a tight end. Although Will Todd, he's a nice weapon you guys have over there. So, but I put my weapons up against you any day. I'm confident with my with how I'll perform, and I'm confident in my defense and the way that they've ended the season. I think that they're going to be the difference in this game, as you alluded to, Ashley. It's going to be about who makes less mistakes. But I think I can afford to make a few mistakes because I know that my defense will pick me up if I do. I see some vulnerabilities. I see I look when I watch a little game film and see what I can see on your guys' side of the ball on defense. I see a safety out there with some old legs. Maybe someone who should contemplate retirement. And it's like I don't know how you're going to stop some young legs in MSG and Saren Storm crossing across the middle, and how you're going to count for Vin Kalia over the top. I mean, old age gets to you, and I know you want that ring, but it's just. Maybe hang it up after this one, after we put up 500 passing yards against your defense and just stick to coaching.
I was not expecting that.
I was. I know Johnny. I know he was going to say something.
I know. I shouldn't expect any less, to be honest, but still pretty funny.
Hey, Bo, you want to go first before Eddie goes off? You want to go?
I don't know what to say because I was all set to give Johnny props on being so professional and not doing what he just did. Like, he literally destroyed everything I was about to say. I was all set to say that I can't believe that Mike St.Green was able to out trash talk Johnny Pickler, and then Johnny goes and does that. So listen, I'm gonna be, I'll keep it short because I got no dog in this fight, right? So, shout out to London for making the playoffs for the very first time, and I'm really proud of my guys. Of course, it's no secret that London gave me my start in the SFL, and I'm eternally grateful for that. And London has come leaps and bounds from where we were, and they have become one of the premier teams in this league, like I always knew they would. That said, there's a lot to be said about experience. And I believe that in the next 2 to 3 seasons, London will get a ring. However, I don't believe it's going to be this season. And this is just me being completely candid. I think that experience plays a huge factor in the SFL. And I think that very few teams have a player coach with more experience than Eddie Gauge. Sure. And I think that respect has to be given to the amount of hours that have been put in mastering APF. And at some point you have to expect that Eddie Gauge, he's continued to show that he has tricks up his sleeve, right? Every time when people count him out, or when like last year when and I forget the team, I'm sorry, but the team that was supposed to beat you guys and you ended up beating them. Mexico, yes, thank you. Nobody gave you guys a shot at that game.
You guys almost beat Denver too.
Took Denver to the brink, gave them everything they could handle. And to me, that is about coaching. Chad was talking earlier about how much this league is about coaching. And all things being equal, right, Johnny? You talked about Saren Storm, and you talked about Vin Kalia, and you talked about MSG, and then you talked about the Hands brothers, and you talked about DJ Moses. All those things being equal, the great equalizer would then be what? It would be coaching, right? So take nothing away from what London's done as a coaching in their coaching department. You guys have shown that you deserve to be here. But at the end of the day, if it's all about experience and coaching, then I got to lean, with all things being equal, I got to go with the experience. I'm going to Arizona.
Gotcha. Mike O?
This is an insanely tough game for me to call. I mean, I love you, Ash. I love Eddie. Will's a great guy. I mean, you guys have a great team. I love all these guys on London, Johnny, Chad, Tanner, all these guys, Mike. And I think it's going to come down to the trenches here. I mean, you guys have an amazing defensive line in Arizona. D.D. Saxon, Mark Mello, just insane beast. Then you got Constantine and Knight. I mean, it's tough. But then you look at London's side of the ball. They got one of the best offensive linemen out there in Perrin Ibarra and some other dude named Butch. I don't know. He's all right. I don't know if those two guys are enough to stop all four of them, but I think that's where the battle is going to be won, is in those trenches right there. It's going to be insanely close. It's going to be a hard knock fight. I don't know that I have it in me to pick one over the other between you guys. So I'm going to say it goes triple overtime, ends in a tie.
Nope, unacceptable.
You
I got to pick a team. You got to pick a team. I ain't trying to hear it.
All right, I picked Jacksonville.
I picked Jacksonville.
Well, we all know who's going to lose. You already lost that one, buddy.
Yeah, did. So did LSG.
Just flip a coin.
All right, so here I'm gonna make a bold prediction then. If I have to pick it, I'm gonna say that it's won at the end of the game, on the first ever pick six by Eddie Gauge.
That was my bold prediction.
Oh man!
Oh, bro,
dude,
get out of my head, dude.
If
That
I
would
get,
be sweet.
I'll run him down. I'll run him down.
That would be sweet.
I can't believe you said that, Mike.
run him down,
bro. We've been together for how many years, man? We got this.
Just gonna say that, God.
He better not get it on my side of the field. He's gonna get tracked down.
Oh, okay.
Aren't you guys looking forward to a London-Baltimore rematch in the next round?
No, y'all already had your chance. Y'all already played. You don't need to play them no more. You don't need to play them no more. It's okay.
Now we have to break the tie. We have to break the tie with Baltimore.
Y'all can do that next season. Do it. What about you, Will?
I got it scheduled for next week.
I think if unless APF just goes flat out crazy, it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a close game, and the other guys ahead of me have basically filled in all the blanks. But clearly, I have to go with Arizona. But I think it's going to be a great game.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about it's already written out. Shut up. And Eddie over there ordering food.
I'm ordering a shake for my daughter. She made me promise I'll bring her one home.
That's
Bring me one too, Eddie.
But
Let me get a 6-piece and a biscuit.
They got them banana shakes. Eddie, give me a banana shake.
Okay.
Yeah, 6 pieces and a biscuit sound pretty good. Actually.
Here you go.
Just take a timeout for Eddie to
I
get
know,
them.
right? We just
Right?
How far does Eddie have to reach out his window to get his money to the people?
No,
he
I'm
drives
Like,
to?
Hey, put him on camera, Eddie.
put him on
Huh?
camera.
Nah, she not attractive, dog.
Oh,
What?
but she got shakes.
Bro, I hope you.
That shake.
I hope she don't watch the SFL, boy.
Man, your food's gonna be spit in, bro.
She got the shake that'll make it quite.
Can you imagine if she watches the SFL?
Oh,
She gonna remember your face, your car, everything. Oh, that's
Oh
him.
my God.
I go to a different McDonald's next time.
You pull it off.
Damn, I'm
right
surprised you're
when
getting a
you
shake
said
then.
that.
I thought the ice cream machine was broken at McDonald's.
Nice.
Well, bro, every time.
it never happens when the ice cream machine is working. It's kind of like Eddie and Pick Sixes. This never happens.
Oh,
Never happens.
did you hear what he said?
I heard him. Oh, good.
It's all out of love, though. That's all.
I mean, it's true. I don't have one yet. I had one in my career it was called back because my left pinky stepped out of bounds.
Yeah. Yep.
So what you think about this game? You heard everybody say what their piece on it, man. So what you got to end things off with?
Thank you so much. You too.
You
Appreciate
got to
it.
go to the second window.
Okay.
He said you ugly.
He said,
It's gonna be a good game. I heard someone talk about our defensive line. Can't sleep on William Davidson, the defensive tackle for London. You know, I think isn't that Liam's player?
Yeah.
Yeah, can't sleep on him either.
can't sleep on Cam Crosby.
No. And so
You can sleep on me. I'll just jump off sides.
Y'all,
That's true.
don't worry. DD Seth's gonna jump off
Yeah,
sides.
no hard counts, Ashley. Jesus.
Yeah, no hard counts. I'll jump.
Don't worry. DD Seth's gonna jump off at least
Yeah,
once.
me
Yeah.
and DD Sack the one to jump.
DD at least once a game, bro. He jumping off sides, man.
Over under 4 offsides calls in this game. What do you got?
But y'all got some playmakers over there. You know, I mean, come on, man. Them receivers is no joke. I think they running back got like 100-something catches. You can't sleep on him either. So I mean, you got to defend the whole field playing y'all, man. And you know, I haven't finished watching tape yet because, like I said, my birthday was this weekend, and I was kind of celebrating, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. And so I was trying to watch some tape last night. Wifey wasn't letting that happen. But so I really ain't had a chance to really dive into nothing yet. And tonight I got to put up some damn freaking.
That is not what you admit to. God. Hey.
Right, yeah.
He's a busy man.
You see, Bo, you talk about all this experience in coaching, but when you got one guy who's his birthday, distractions, and
don't fall for all that. Don't fall for that, Chad.
We got.
I ain't falling for nothing.
We got a whole team
for
of guys that have been working.
I ain't falling for nothing.
I'm gonna say something else too. So Bo was complimenting my coaching. Man, there's a great saying by a billionaire. I forget what his name is, but he says, I'd rather have 1% of effort from 100 people than 100% effort from one
person. Yep.
And for you guys to have what? I think you heard you guys name off 3 coaches. God dang, bro. I mean, shit. God, I mean, I wish I had that kind of help over here, man. I wouldn't be so damn tired all the damn time. But
Ashley, that's all you.
You can rest starting next week.
You can rest next week. I mean, you can rest this week if you want. Don't matter.
I got to get in there at some point, man, because you know shit getting out of hand, and I promised my daughter I'm gonna put these lights up, and after that, you know, I gotta get to the grind.
After that's the grind.
Oh, man. Mike, you can rethink your picks right now if you want.
So it's gonna be a good game. Y'all got athletes all over the damn field, and I also couldn't help but notice that Mike St.Green was complaining about his receivers getting open. And all of a sudden, I look at progression, and they got a bunch of guys who all of a sudden got bump bust on their squad. I'm like, okay, I see what's up. So
what you got to do?
Yeah, so I see y'all over there working, man, and so I'm about to, you know, divvy up and change up my game plan a little bit to accommodate for those sudden changes.
Roll all the coverage towards me. That's all you got to do.
Appreciate you, dog. Appreciate you. But so I gotta, you know, make some changes to my playbook or whatever to, you know, adjust that situation and try to find, you know, different ways to try to, you know, limit the y'all production. And it's gonna be a dogfight, man. And oh boy, I mean, for whatever reason, man, this season, you know, actually the past 2 seasons, man, I'm used to being at least number 3 in total turnovers for each season. But this season and last season, you know, I haven't been getting them. I don't know if it's legend settings or what, but I'm used to being top 3 since I've been a defensive coordinator. And
Daddy, you stalling? Are you picking London?
Oh, come on now, dog. Every week when I send in my picks to Swamp Talk, when he had who my locker is, it's always Arizona. I don't care who.
Nice play music.
Oh, that's Johnny.
Keep that same energy. I got Arizona winning this one.
I really do. I really hope, because sometimes, Johnny, I do notice that when everything's going good, love, you be all in the chat. I see you doing.
Talk to him. Talk to him, man.
Talk to
him, man.
Hey, y'all see that play? Yeah, we good.
Yeah.
But the moment y'all losing, where you at? I don't see you. Where you at, man? Where do you be going, Johnny? When y'all losing, and you just be real quiet, babe. Tell me where you go.
You're just not reading the papers. I'm always around. I don't know what you're talking about. When I'm losing,
I know.
When I'm losing, they're all talking about me. I'm talking too. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, really? Because it's whenever you guys are losing, you just get ghosts, and I'd be like, damn, where is Johnny? I want him to have that same energy that he had at the beginning of the game.
Look at the little eyebrow raise. You see that? Did you answer your damn phone?
Yeah.
Nah, but you know what? I mean, and that's why I love the guy, right? Because even during the losing streaks, even during the losses and stuff, and MSG can attest to this too. I mean, he's one of the first guys in the locker room boosting everybody up, right? And talking to each of us and then just telling us like, hey, we'll get him on the next one. Giving shout outs to people that play great. And, when he has to call people out in the locker room, he calls people out in the locker room, which I don't know if that's actually happened, but
I'll be right back.
Nevertheless, but at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, if he is silent or whatever, he's silent, I guess, if you want to call it like that. But really what he's doing is instead of going out there and game chat with us or chat with everybody, he's in there talking with us, talking with his teammates, making sure everybody's good. And that's why he was nominated as a captain. We knew that he was going to come in and really turn this locker room around, and he's done that.
Yeah, truth of the matter is Johnny is a great teammate. I don't care what you heard or whoever heard coming in up until now, but now Johnny's a great teammate, great leader in the locker room, and a great locker room presence. So, well, because someone's not in Gen chat or whatever all the time, that really means nothing. One thing I can tell, the SFL public is that, on the while we were sitting and waiting on what our playoff standing was, I mean, half the locker room was in there. At least after midnight my time, as Chad mentioned, Liam, 6 o'clock in the morning London time, we were all there just as a team together, to hear what our status was going to be. So now it's a great locker room, solid locker room overall, and Johnny was there as well the other night. So now his leadership and persona as a player is beyond reproach as far as I'm concerned. And as long as Johnny's in London, I'll be in London. So yeah, his leadership is beyond question to me. So there it is.
There it is. So.
I appreciate that, Mike. And I'll just say, no, I love my team. It's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be a great battle. I wouldn't go to war with anyone else besides who we have. And like they said, there's guys. I mean, from the end of our game, which ended early in the evening. I mean, you had 12 guys in VC from the final whistle of that ball game against Baltimore, literally until 3 a.m. my time, Central Time. That's like 9 a.m. London time. 4 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time for a lot of these guys. Like that's how long these guys. We just couldn't stop talking to each other. Like you got a brotherhood here, that fucking loves each other, and we're gonna be nasty for years to come. Yeah, looking forward to this weekend.
I wasn't talking about general chat. I mean, no.
Well, we're talking about game chat. I know.
But
I know what you're.
I said all that to say this, though.
What are you talking about then? Game chat, like in the game?
Yeah, in game day chat. Chat. I mean, regular gen chat and all that stuff. I'm not really concerned with.
He's always there. He's always there for us. Absolutely.
When you're winning, yes, but when you're losing, you go.
I don't think. I don't agree.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either. And I've never talked smack to other teams during game day.
I didn't accuse you of that.
I know you didn't, but like game day chat is what I use because when I used to play football, it's like the same way I would talk to kind of my teammates. I kind of phase out even people who are like the fan, like who are kind of neutral. I try not to be assholes to them, but they're like, "What's up, Johnny?" Like I don't really even talk to them. It's like, dude, whatever I'm typing in here, it's just my emotion of this game. And when you're losing, there's nothing to say. You're on the field. You're preparing for the next thing. You know what I mean? I might say, let's go, boys. It's not over. A lot of times I put like halftime mini speeches and stuff when we're losing about, let's put it all on the line this next quarter, this next thing when we're losing and stuff like that. But yeah, I might talk less, for good reason when we're losing, because you should shut the fuck up and fucking start playing ball, But I mean, I'll still talk. But that's just what I was. I'll always be active in game chat. But Ashley, if it's a concern to you, I'll be plenty active this weekend for you.
That was just getting ready to say this. You may have, if you think he was a sleeping bear, now you just poke the bear, right?
That's fine. I just mentioned something that I noticed that happens. I don't, I didn't mean to make you drop the F-bomb or nothing like that, bro.
That's just my emotion towards it. It's all good.
I feel you. But everybody handles things.
You're gonna get a lot of let's. You're gonna get a lot of let's F and goes this weekend. That's what you're gonna get a lot out of me.
Oh, okay.
Like,
all I'm saying is make sure you keep that same energy when y'all lose. That's it. That's all. Just be the same exact Johnny.
No, it'd be impossible to do that. I wouldn't be happy if we lost. Like, but I can't keep that same energy.
So you don't think that you can just be even kill? Just like, hey, we won, cool. Hey, we lost, cool.
No, if we lose, I'm gonna be fucking pissed because I care, and if we win, I'm gonna be fucking happy with my boys because I'm happy about it.
Okay, gotcha. We're looking forward to seeing you in chat.
We seeing you there?
Absolutely. Eddie, did you finish your point you were trying to make?
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Okay, gotcha. Well, what'd you say?
Eddie, stretch those hammies. Don't need you pulling anything out there, baby.
I'm getting older, so I got to start stretching. But a good hour before the game. So.
All right. Well, gentlemen, this was fun, and I really appreciate all of your time for being on the show. This is going to be a fantastic playoff run. It's going to be interesting to see who makes it past the wild cards. And I do invite all of you to please come back on the show next week if you would like to be on, because I do plan on doing another panel. And
don't do that, Ashley. Don't do that. Don't do that. We'll be back. We'll be back.
You act like John. How long have I known you? Long time. Right? When have I ever been scared to have somebody on the show, even if I lost someone?
You ain't scared.
Nah, I'm not scared.
Give her that. You
ain't scared.
So, with that, please bring your ass back next week. I'd love to talk to you again. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, but guys, this was fun. I'm gonna give everybody the last word so we can go ahead and I'm sure y'all got other things to do than to talk to me all night, but I want to appreciate all of you all for being here. So I'm gonna give the last word to, starting off, Mike All. Any last words, brother?
Well, I enjoyed being on the show with all you guys tonight. It's always fun having all you around. I especially enjoyed having Bo actually show up for once. That was nice. Appreciate that, Bo. However, last season, going into this season, I think I did a pretty good job of shocking Mike and the rest of the draft panel and everybody else with what I did in the draft and what I did in the off season. It didn't end up the way I had hoped, but I got an extra week this time. So what am I going to do this time? It's probably going to be something good. Let's wait and see what happens this off season and coming into that draft. Let's wait and see.
Looking forward to it, definitely. All right, and what about you, Bo?
All right, so first off, I believe the first no-show goes to you, Mike. So thanks for showing me the way. Since we're talking about people not showing up, you are the master. As far as the teams, the playoffs this year, there are a bunch of awesome teams in the playoffs. And even though LSG is not one of them, I love my team and there's so much promise with our team. I would rather not make the playoffs with this team than make the playoffs with anyone else. And so, shout out to them for being who they are, from the top all the way down to the bottom. Even Hugh Perv, shout out to him. there's a bunch of great games, scheduled this weekend, and I'm looking forward to watching them. And we'll see who moves forward, and it's gonna be awesome. So shout out to you, Ashley, again for having us. And I look forward to seeing who shows up next week. I know you'll be here, Ashley, because it's your show, but I look forward to seeing. I know Johnny and Chad and MSG, pretty well, but I would hope that they don't shy away if they lose. It's easy to come on when you win, especially like London apparently wants to be the Dallas Cowboys. That's the vibe I'm getting from Mike St.Green and Johnny Pickler, is that they want to be the bad boys of the SFL. They want, and if I'm wrong, correct me, but the aura that you guys are putting off is you want to be hated. And so if that's what you're going for, continue, all the best to you in your efforts. But if you lose, like Ashley said, keep that same energy and continue to. One thing I love about, I hate Dallas Cowboys fans, but one thing I'll say, they haven't done jack in almost 30 years and they're still talking trash. Okay. So, if you guys do happen to lose next week, don't run from Ashley. Come on the show, take your lumps. Or if you win, I'm sure you'll be on if you win, because then you're going to want to gloat. But anyway, I'm looking forward to every game this weekend, and may the best team win.
All right. So what you got? Let's see. MSG. Mike? Oh.
Hey, that's for Bo. That's for the whole SFL. I'm never scared of nothing. I've never walked away from anything.
I ain't see me scared.
We'll be here if we win or lose. We'll be here. We'll be here, baby. Hey, we're not worried about that. Look, Arizona, I love y'all. I respect y'all. But hey, man, somebody got to lose. See you next week, baby.
All right. And what about you? Let's see, Will Todd.
And once again, Ashley, thanks for having me on the show, guys. It's been a real pleasure being on the panel with you tonight. My 2 cents is this is my third season in the SFL, if you count my single season in the SFLM, and this is my first season going to the playoffs. So I am really hyped about the upcoming game and the prospects because I think Arizona's got a great team. I believe in everybody on that team, and I'm just jacked. So,
indeed,
glad to be here.
Thank you, Will. And what about you, Mr. JP? What's going on? Talk to us.
Here comes the money, 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 dollar, ching, ching, bling, bling. Get money and you're talking no matter. Ching, ching, bling, bling, pocket, take a dollar.
Yeah. So, no, I will say that Bo said correct him if he's wrong. He's wrong. I don't want to be hated. I think I can speak for myself and Mike. I just want to be me. I just want to, and I'm always going to be loud, and I'm always going to be confident in my team when I am. I'm always going to be truthful. I'm always going to be myself, and it shows that when I'm not confident in my team, I'm gonna talk about that too. As you can see with what happened with Louisiana last year. If I'm not happy with some of the way things are going and some of the decisions that are being made, I'm not going to shy from who I am and stuff. So I'll be myself regardless. If you want to love me, you're going to love me. If you want to hate me, you want to hate me. But I don't want people to hate me. So that's where you're incorrect. But I will keep being me, and I love that my brother will keep being him. I love that. I love our locker room. I love my coaches. I love my leaders. And I'll go to fucking battle with this team any day. I do want to say just to everybody in the SFL, it's a beautiful league. I have no hate in my heart towards a single person in this league, whether they're Louisiana, wherever they come from, any team, anyone that's not like me, anyone who's talked trash to me. as individuals, I have love it. I have space in my heart for all you guys. I hope that everything is going well in your lives. I love that we have this hobby that we can share together, and looking forward to beating some ass this weekend. And I'll be on the show regardless next week.
All right, looking forward to it. And Chad.
Yeah, so once again, as always, Ash, thanks for having me on. It's always fun jumping in here and talking some smack with everybody, and especially because, the fact that we're playing against each other, so it makes it even better. So do want to wish the best of luck to the entire Arizona organization. There's some great people in there from the top to the bottom. And, this is my first game in the playoffs as a head coach. So kind of making my rookie debut. And of course, I get to go up against a legend in Eddie. So, it's going to be a fun game regardless. I have so much respect for Eddie and what he's done for the league and everything. He's just, the best. I mean, there's a reason for it. So I can't wait for this weekend. I'm just really excited to be here. And the fact that, I'm just even more excited because of the fact that I was able to get Liam, his first playoff appearance, and if you were, like I said, if you were in there and you heard the emotion during our town hall meeting, we host a town hall every season before the season starts. And you got to hear the emotion, that the guys did for Liam. And then you heard it, at least the guys did on the VC, and even Cam did, too, heard it that night when we found out that we were in. So it's a beautiful thing we got in London right now, and then we're going to keep it rolling. And I just cannot wait for this weekend. So thank you again.
Gotcha. And to end things off, Eddie Gauge. Eddie, you're muted.
You're muted, bro.
My bad. All that talking for nothing. I just want to say thank you, Ashley, first of all, for giving us all this platform to come out here and do what we do, and speak our truths and opinions on different subject matters. Whether it's controversial or not, I'm about to go ahead and tune into what the hell Craven had to say. Find out what's going on with him. But us as well, what's his still like 190, 191 or some shit like that. I mean, some stuff like that, whatever it is.
It's okay. Everybody else can cuss. It's all right. I'm gonna be bleeping everything out.
Good job. We all keeping it simple. But I
didn't curse.
You and me, Bo.
I can't wait for this weekend.
I didn't know we weren't supposed to. I would have kept it PG.
No, you're good. I knew when you were coming, it was going to be some F-bombs. It's all right, man.
I can't.
How much you do yourself? Go ahead.
MSG didn't cuss.
Is he really speaking to himself in the third person? Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Arizona made a run last season. I thought we was on the verge of beating Denver, man. It pissed me off. We came up short. But we got another crack at it this season. It starts this weekend with London. I haven't really finished scouting them yet, but one thing I noticed is, damn, their defensive playbook is deep. It's like you don't know what area to attack of the field because they got a bunch of plays to defend something short, medium, and deep. So it's like, damn, where the hell do I go? So it's been giving me headaches, and man, it's gonna be a battle, and at the same time trying to contain that offense too. So we got our work cut out for us, but this is why we work so hard. We wanted a 12, and London wanted a 12, and you can't take that away from London. And shout out to Chad for getting the staff he needed in place and the players he needed in place. So Chad, whatever you're doing over there, man, keep at it, because London never made it to the playoffs, and they've been around for a long fucking time. I mean, they pardon me for saying it, but London has always sucked. And to see Chad, I shouldn't say that. London has always been one of the underperforming teams. I put it that way. And to see Chad come in here and in his second season turn around the culture of that team and get a coaching staff in place, himself included. I mean, he serving as a GM and a coach. So Chad, shout out to you, bro, for doing what you're doing over there. You and Tanner and everybody else involved over there. And shout out to Liam for getting out his own way and letting you do what you do over there, man. I mean, whatever you said to him, you know, apparently it worked because here y'all are in your second season as the GM and coach, and y'all in the playoffs. It don't matter how you get there, just get there. I don't care if you're the first seed or the 12th seed, just get in. And, you know, all you need is, you don't have to win every week. You just got to win that week. That's all that matters, you know. You know, that following week, guess what? Just like Baltimore, just like you having a headache over Baltimore, whoever else you play, they're gonna have a headache trying to figure you out because the pressure is on that team, not y'all. You know, y'all ain't supposed to be here according to whoever, you know, y'all ain't even supposed to be here. So the pressure is on those other teams. So shout out to you, man, and everything you got going on over there, man. That is awfully impressive, bro, because London has never been, you know, made it this far, you know. So people may not like it, but they got to respect it because y'all here, man, and it is what it is. So I look forward to a great bunch of games this weekend, ours included. It's going to be a war. And I can't wait to turn on the Sims and see how it's looking, man, because golly, bro, I mean, y'all got plays in there nobody dialed up. And then I'm watching y'all game versus Baltimore and it was working. I'm like, man, they dialed this up and they getting picks and deflections and, you know, I'm like, oh my God, what the hell? So I don't know if I should, you know, dial up the offense for that or something more simple. So I got to be ready for everything. But it's hard to get ready for a team that throws everything at you because you just don't know what's coming. And, you know, shout out to Will for helping me scout this week. I mean, he's been a godsend all season. Will, thank you, brother, because, man, I used to be exhausted trying to do all this myself. So how you helping me, man, it's a blessing. And, man, I was looking forward to a bunch of great games. And hopefully when this weekend, when our game is over, Arizona comes out on top. And London, regardless of what anybody else says, man, respect to y'all for doing what y'all doing, man. It's impressive, bro. And other than that, Arizona, I love y'all. Hey, yo, man. All that nonsense aside, yo, we got robbed versus Denver last season. We got to do something this season, y'all. I mean, anything less than making it past the second round is going to be a disappointment for me. You know, I love y'all regardless, you know, whether we win or lose, you know, y'all been one of the first teams to progress all season. At least 9 out of the 12 weeks, Arizona was the first to progress. And I much love to Ashley and DJ, you know, for getting us the right quality people, players, attitudes. You know, shout out to Will for being a blessing to me. Shout out to Cliff for coming in, helping with social media so I can put my focus on coaching. Yo, in my locker room, man, I love all my fucking dogs up in there, man. I love every last one of y'all, man. And I'm working so hard over here trying to get us, you know, to where we need to be. 4 wins season 14, 5 wins season 15, 6 wins season 16, 7 season 17. It should have been more than that, but I screwed up the playbook a couple of times. That's on me. But dang, we was this close to having a first round bye. Now we at home in the first round, but it's all good though, Arizona. I still love y'all. And man, I'm looking forward to competing out here and putting our name on the map. You know, I was trying to go out to the store and get us some season 17 division champions. And Mark Mello was like, man, F that t-shirt, man. We want a world championship t-shirt. So to hear people say stuff like that, man, it just shows that y'all got faith in me. And I'm trying to return the favor and bless y'all and take us somewhere we ain't been. So, man, that's all I got, man. I see y'all.
All right, man. Well, that was... I echo those sentiments exactly about the team. We have a really good team here, really good guys that come back every season, you know, and I think as a GM, that means a lot to me personally because that's less work, that we have to do during the off season, trying to figure out how we're going to get the pieces that we need. But it's good to be able to grow together as a team. It's good to be able to grow together and finally see all of those team builds come to fruition and gel together in the way they're supposed to. That said, Arizona is absolutely an amazing team. And I also think that despite the haters, you know, or the people, the naysayers, or the people that actually have a problem with London, however you want to call them, you got to give props not only to the coaching, but to those players that have spent countless seasons waiting to get to this point. And you got to be very mindful when you say things, with your chest, or when you say things because it's, that's something that needs to be said. Yeah. But you also have to think about it from a different perspective too, because not only the coaches have worked very hard, these players have endured the many seasons that they just missed it by that much, or that they were nowhere near it, So I think it's just a lesson for everybody. That's all. But everybody, thank you so much again. Looking forward to seeing all of y'all next week. And to my listeners out there, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And I'm looking forward to bringing you another great podcast next week. But until then, y'all, stay safe, treat each other well. For Will Todd, Chad Roland, Johnny Pickner, MSG, Bo Martin, Eddie Gauge, and Mike All, and AJ Stryker. See you very soon.